All right. Boom. Hello.
Just like that.
Hello. What up? What up?
Ah, Andrew is in the chat already. Excellent. Excellent. There we go. I've got it up on my laptop here now. So, what's going on, Andrew? All right. Time to enjoy a beverage.
Hey, we've got a few people in already. 8 people in already.
Trev from Flat Round and Spun. Come on, don't make a mess. Oh, come on, you bastard. Trying to open this fucking...
Dave's in the chat.
Dave is here.
Dave's in the chat. Yeah, he unfortunately couldn't join us in person, but it's nice to see you in the chat, Dave.
Yep.
And Roger as well.
Yes, a sleeveless Trev, Andrew. Remember, it's freezing cold outside, but I'm in the house and I'm warm, so sleeveless it is. I'm enjoying one of my favorite things ever lately.
Nice.
Childproof beer for Trev. Yes, Dave, because I'm still off the sauce, my friend. But I still enjoy the taste every so often. All right. Shall we get into this, Mr. Josh, or what?
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
Can do, yeah. I mean, we're still waiting for George G. We're hoping turn up. But we'll see if he turns up.
Yeah.
I guess we can just make a start.
Yeah. So, when did you first get into DC, Josh?
Me, pretty early actually. It's sort of it's kind of been a bit of a all over the place thing with me in AC/DC. Mark from Wandering Souls.
Mark, wonderful.
Oh yeah, Kim's got his drumsticks in the background. I watched that video this morning.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm not gonna use them. Never gonna play with them. That's
just a display. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool though. But yeah, with AC/DC, it's kind of a bit of a weird thing because, like, for me, it was when I was getting into music to begin with. I was sort of around 12, 13. And AC/DC was always sort of on the radar, but I never really listened to them, like, apart from like the odd couple of tracks, you know. It was never like I never truly got into them properly until probably over the last couple of years. But I remember the first song that I really, really liked by AC/DC was Thunderstruck. That was like one of the first ones that I got into. And I remember when I was at middle school, I was probably about 12 or 13, had a little MP3, and I'd always used to play that song on the way home. My little MP3. Yeah. I remember that. That was probably the earliest sort of memory I've got of AC/DC. And then the next thing I remember is my dad getting this album. And I remember listening to this one a lot when I was about 14, 15. And then my dad got, actually I've got it up here. That was kind of a big one after that. And after that, I started wanting to get more into the Bon Scott era, especially. And then I got, mostly the only Bon Scott I don't have now is the debut one. But yeah, that's probably my earliest memory of first getting into AC/DC, and obviously Hell's Bells as well was a song that I always really, really liked as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much it for me. Yeah.
What about you, Kim?
I guess I must have been 11 or something. Was the first band I got into was Iron Maiden. The second band was AC/DC. My parents had figured out I was starting to get interested in this heavy rock, so they gave me a Flick of the Switch, the cassette tape, and it hadn't been rewound, so I just popped it in the cassette deck and pressed play in the middle of a Brian Johnson scream. So it scared the hell out of me. And I said, this is not for me. This is too crazy. And then I think the next day, I just snuck back into the living room and picked up the cassette tape, rewound it, and loved it. And I think it's a great album. And yeah, since then, I got heavy into AC/DC as well. So they are probably my second favorite band of all time.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I was saying to the guys earlier before we went live, I mean, and anybody who's watched this, my channel, you guys know, right fucking here, all day, every day, Malcolm, and the whole thing. And everybody knows I'm a big Brian fan. Like, Brian's the main reason why I became a singer. But Bon is literally a fucking absolute lyrical genius. Like, people think that just because I love Brian that I don't like Bon. It's like, nah, man. Like, wait till you see where a lot of my top 5 is. It's half and half. Like, first thing I ever heard was, and I was a kid, I'd just been into the Stones. My buddy gave me a cassette tape of Who Made Who, took it home, popped it into the deck. Here comes the bells for Hell's Bells, guitars playing, kicked in, and then Brian starts yelling at me. I'm like, why is he yelling at me, etc., etc. And then from there on in, it was Shake Your Foundation, Sink the Pink. Everything just completely overtook my life for the next 30-some years, basically. Got to see them in 2000 on the Stiff Upper Lip tour in Montreal. Just an 18-year-old kid with strippers and AC/DC, and I was just like, oh, this is everything I want and love in life. And they've been perfect as far as I'm concerned ever since. Yeah, and a lot of the chat, we can tell that there's a lot of the boys that are seeing them from 79 and 83 and fucking 79. I was only a half thought, I guess, at that point. And I mean, like, so many guys that getting into them at early ages, so it's pretty fucking cool. But,
yeah, and they have such a big discography. It stretches over so many years that people can just pop in. I think that's super interesting as well. Someone got in on the back in the 70s, maybe someone else in the 80s, or in the 90s with the Razor's Edge. So I think that's very cool too.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, as we go through this discography, like the thing for me is like, no matter where they're all ranked, it's still AC/DC and it's all still good. There's probably some moments in here that I may not like, but I mean, again, we'll get into that shortly. Once George shows up or whatever's going on. I haven't heard from him in a little bit, actually.
I've just sent him it again, the link. So we'll see if he turns up or not. I did actually put a comment on his video this morning saying about it, and he see you later to me in his reply. So I don't know, maybe he's forgot or maybe he's got the timing wrong. I don't know, but
yeah,
I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my buddy Andy or Andrew. Well, Andrew. Yeah, he's never been a DC fan, but we've had this conversation numerous times.
But he loves big balls.
That's right. He's not going to live that down for the next little bit. No, I'm going to be like, sell some big balls, buddy. He's probably laughing at me right now. I know he is. That's the best part about it. Yeah, Dan. Yeah, that's the thing. Like between the Ramones, DC, and certain other bands have just never walked away from that style, and I think that's the main reason why people still like AC/DC after all these years, right? No matter what. This is the first time you've ever heard of them refer as D. Man, I've been saying DC for fucking ever. But then again, I'm weird. I have huge balls. Well, I don't know about that, Andrew. You see, this is gonna get out of control pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Let's not have to be the same as the fucking. What's that, buddy? I
was saying it would have been even more out of control if Dave had been here. It would have just been crazy.
Yeah. Well, I hope he's feeling better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, that's the reason why he's not on, because he wasn't feeling so good, so he didn't feel like coming on. So yeah, hopefully that he does feel better soon. And I did notice he was in the chat, so he might pop in and out of the chat if he's feeling like it. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, maybe.
Still nothing from George. Should we just make a start? And see if he comes on or not.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. I think that's
okay.
I think that's a good idea, because otherwise we're going to be sitting here for ages not doing anything, waiting for him to come on. So
pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just get straight into the ranking. So we're going to do this as we usually do with these. We're going to go chronological order, because that's just the easiest way to do it between multiple guests. And yeah, let's start. So I must add, so we're doing the 16 full-length international albums. We're not including the 2 Australian albums, because technically TNT is essentially High Voltage with 2 songs from the Australian High Voltage.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't include those. We also didn't include the Jailbreak EP, even though that is an excellent EP. I did have a chance to listen to it, and it's fantastic, actually. And we're not including the live album either.
No.
So yeah, let's make a start. So yeah, the first international album, High Voltage, from 1976. Dave's just put feeling better, but still not up to it. That's all right.
Yeah, I understand.
That's all right. Yeah. You'd always be welcome to come on if we do another band ranking in the future that you might like the idea of coming on for. The invitation will always be open. So yeah. Okay. So should I begin with where I put High Voltage?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right. So I put High Voltage number 5 on my list. I think it's a really, really good debut album. I really like it. I like how bluesy it is. I mean, I know a lot of their stuff is quite bluesy, but I've heard it more so on this debut album compared to what they would go on to do. But it still had like elements of their classic AC/DC sounds that we all know. Yeah, I really, really liked Rock and Roll Singer, Live Wire, TNT, High Voltage is a really good song. I liked She's Got Balls. I thought that was a pretty cool song. The Jack as well, I quite liked. I think they went on to do better in their career. But I think it's a really strong album. There's not too many dud songs on there. The thought it was really good. So yeah, I put it at number 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's next?
You, Kim?
Okay, yeah. So my ranking it's a little bit arbitrary because I like most of their albums equally much. So I've kind of gone with maybe not ranking them according to how good I think they are, but more like how important they are to me.
Okay.
So I've put it in eighth place, um, which I think is still pretty high ranking. It's kind of like at the middle. And yeah, I love that album too. I mean, the songs are fun. You got some kind of rock and roll vibe to a lot of the songs, and boogie rock, and it is very bluesy too. Like with the Jack, definitely a fun song. But I also like I guess some of the more less known songs. I really think "Little Lover" is a fun song, and "Can I Sit Next to You, Girl?" I think they're fun songs. TNT, of course. Um, so yeah, I think it's a great album, and it's one of the first kind of vinyl records I think I bought uh, myself, so it has a special place there. Uh, yeah, good, fun, lighthearted compared to some of the later stuff too, but in the eighth place for me.
Okay.
Fair
Well,
enough.
I have it at dead last. Um, it's not for anything horrible. I mean, I think when I get right down to it, like besides if you want, like it's a long way to the top. Um, Live Wire and TNT. I mean, other than those ones, like those ones are my favorites, and the other ones they're just not really there. Like I think probably because I've overplayed these songs so fucking much. Every one of their songs. I think the biggest thing is like fucking like, yeah, have my picture on your bedroom wall next to Gary Glitter. Yeah. I mean, I do like the back of the record, like when you look at some of the letters and stuff and you see like, having a good time. And where was it? There was like a letter here where Phil Rudd like broke his stick over some dude's head or something like that. And it's I mean it's pretty cool that way, but it doesn't hold up as much as the rest of them do. It's just that simple. No other real notes about that really, and that's why
Fair
it's
enough.
like,
Fair enough.
yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's move on to the second album, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap from 1976. And I've got this at number 2. And
Okay.
partly you could probably say it's because it's the album I've lived with the most. As I said earlier, I had this from about, I remember my dad getting this when I was about 14, 15. So I've listened to this one the most, but I still think there's some really, really good stuff on there. Obviously the title track. I've always liked Love at First Feel. Big Balls is a bit of an odd song, to say the least, but I kind of don't mind it. It's actually quite a funny song. They've always kind of done like songs like that, especially with Bon Scott. They've always done kind of like songs where they've not really took themselves very seriously, and it's a bit tongue in cheek, So I kind of like it. It's got a bit of a charm to it. Rocker, Problem Child, Ride On is really, really good, and the last song is really good as well, Squealer. I haven't really got any complaints about it. I think it's a really good album, and I've got it at number 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I actually have it at number 2 as well. Because I like how, the title track is actually very heavy for an AC/DC song. And there's some interesting drumming going on. It's not just you know, the typical AC/DC drumming. He plays a bit around with the toms and stuff, which I like. And yeah, you have those like fun songs. Of course, Big Balls. The lyrics are actually quite clever because it's puns all over the place, and I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it ain't no fun, get your jumbo jet out of my airport and all that stuff. I think it's a fun album. And actually, I remember I would bring it along with me when we went to my uncle's place, and he would allow me to play it on he had like a more high-end stereo, which was really cool. Um, and apparently, no one in my family had any problems with a kid listening to a song called Big Balls. So that's great.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd song, especially for a young boy when you're listening to a song and then you're like singing along with it, big balls, and then everybody looking like, hang on a minute,
Yeah.
fuck is going on? Okay. Well, I have Dirty Deeds. I have it at number 13. Now, again, this is sort of the same thing with High Voltage. It is the oldest of the two, the international stuff. Now, when it gets right down to it, like the title track is great. Big Balls is funny as shit. How Bond ever decided to pull that out of his ass with probably the amount of substances that man fucking ingested is pretty funny to me. Rocker just once Big Balls is over, bang, there's Rocker, and it's done in like 2 minutes 46 seconds. Problem Child still fucking kicks severe ass every time I listen to it. Ain't No Fun is great. Ride On, which my first experience obviously was Who Made Who. Let's just get this out of the fucking way. Squealer is probably one of the most underrated tracks in the entire fucking discography. That when that bass line comes in and just starts grooving, it's just like, yes. But again, this we know this discography is fucking huge. There's loads of classics, and this is just down a little further. And number 13, it's not a bad spot, but I'm sure people might get mad, but fuck it, who cares?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up is Let There Be Rock from 1977. And I've got this at number 1. This is my favorite.
Lovely choice. Okay, I see what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember wanting to get this mainly because of the song "Whole Lot of Rosie," and I thought that song is excellent. I've got to buy I've got to buy the album and listen to the whole thing because I actually, apart from Whole Lot of Rosie, Problem Child, and Overdose, I don't think I'd actually listen to the rest of the album. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I remember listening to it. I got it a couple of years back. Actually, there's probably a collection update somewhere on my channel where I talk a little bit about this. And yeah, honestly, I think from start to finish, this album is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, probably my favorite tracks. Probably, obviously, Let There Be Rock is a classic. Bad Boy Boogie, I really like that song. Kind of got a bit of like a rock and roll kind of vibe with that song. Problem Child, I think that this version of Problem Child's better than the version on Dirty Deeds because it doesn't fade out. I think that's the one that doesn't fade out, and they just keep on going. And yeah, I really rate that. And yeah, Overdose is a really cool song. I think the first time I actually heard that song was Exodus doing a cover of it.
Yeah.
disaster. Yeah. Sue's done an excellent job of it. Basically, it's a absolutely perfect album, I think. And my number one.
And Dave even says it's his favorite Bond record. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
It is a great album. Great album. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kim?
Yeah, I have it in 6th place, and not because I think it's bad or anything. I also think it's a perfect album, to be honest. And again, you have like the title track is actually very heavy, which I always appreciated. And then you have that chaotic guitar solo, which I love. Angus style. Bad Boy Boogie is a fun song to sing along to, and you have like Overdose, the Exodus cover, but I know this will make me unpopular, but I actually really love the Onslaught cover of Let There Be Rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have a soft spot for dodgy thrash metal covers, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I dig that one a lot. I think it's a great album, fun songs. It's hard to pick favorite songs from this album if I'm being completely honest, because I think they're all great.
Where did you say you had it, Kim?
6th place.
Same with me.
But basically, all AC/DC albums to me, apart from one, they share the first place. So I have to do some kind of weird justifications.
Yeah. And it's really, really hard. Nander, I hope you do that playlist, buddy. I really want your opinions. Again, my number 6 as well. Same with you, Kim. There's not honestly a bad fucking song on here. Another shining moment and star on this album for me is Go Down. It's just got a really solid, heavy, fucking groovy rock and roll tune, and then they get that real sort of slow down thing with Angus, and then it's like a real halftime, and everything's quieter, and Bond's kind of getting that sort of sultry Scottish Australian voice going, and everything's ripping, and I'm like, fucking, this is, oh god, no wonder why women just fucking was like, just take me however you will, sir. Dog Eat Dog, the title track is phenomenal. Probably one of the wildest things that I saw live was, obviously, like I said, the title track. Bad Boy Boogie kicks ass. Problem Child is fucking always fun. Why they put it on this one, I really don't know. After they just had it on Dirty Deeds, who cares? Overdose, fantastic. Yes, Exodus kicked ass on it. Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be. My favorite story about Whole Lotta Rosie is apparently, Jesus Christ, Roger, that's enough. Sending punches to Norway. It probably won't actually, make it there. So when they were finishing the Rosie, Angus was playing he was playing that outro solo so hard to the point where he actually set his Marshall on fire. Like apparently the tubes overheated so bad and everything just kind of started to pop, and then the amp just sort of caught fire. I'm like, that's fucking wild. What's more rock and roll than that? Nothing. Yeah, number 6, it sits.
Yeah. Chris Barnes is the best vocalist ever.
Yeah. Just kidding. I hate Chris Barnes. Oh, Roger, you silly.
We can't do a stream without talking about Chris Barnes. Just wanted to answer these early. We're not doing Who Made Who because we basically just thought it's like a best of album, so we thought there's no real point doing it.
It has like 3 original songs.
To answer that question, I think Who Made Who's an original, isn't it? And I think there's like 2 instrumentals, but apart from that,
DT and Chasey Ace. I was not born in 77. I was born in 81. Josh is still the
I was
baby.
alive in 77.
You were?
Barely. Yeah, I'm old. I was born in 1754. So I'm really old.
Yeah, Kim's
Not that
got
old, but
Viking age.
I was around.
Andrew doing the hashtag Chris Bars.
Chris
Bars!
Yeah. That guy probably doesn't want to know how young I am.
Probably not.
2000.
Yeah, and it's like Dave said too. Who Made Who is essentially it's a soundtrack for which was specifically requested by oh God, Stephen King. Yeah, holy Lord, I almost forgot his name. Yeah.
Maximum Overdrive, fantastic movie. So bad it's good.
Yeah, right. So bad it's good. Josh, you should go check that out, man. I think you might dig that. All right.
Well, especially if AC/DC is the soundtrack. I mean,
oh yes, it's fantastic, buddy.
Yeah, let's carry on. Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look it up. Right. Okay. Power Age next. From 78. Oh, yeah, this is another great one. I'll tell you what. I actually had a tough time trying to put this in a ranking, but in the end, I went with number 3 for me. Just not quite as I didn't like it quite as much as my top 2, but still, it's very, very, very close. Because this album's got some excellent songs. Rock and Roll Damnation, Riff Raff, obviously, great song. City, Gone Shooting, Up to My Neck in You as well. Yeah, some really good songs on this album. It's another solid album.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it in at number 3 for me.
Yeah, and again, my ranking is arbitrary. So I have it in 7th place.
Oh, okay.
For no particular reason other than you have to be ordered somehow, right? Because I think it's a fantastic album. Rock and Roll Damnation, I think is a great AC/DC song. A little bit different from their typical songs, which I appreciate as well. Riff Raff, fantastic. Sin City, Bruce Dickinson covered that live. I don't know if he's done that on a studio recording either, but did it live. Gun Shooting is a fun song as well. It's another album that I just listened to, nonstop back in the day. So love it. Has to be somewhere, and that's the 7th place.
Yeah. Number 1. And I struggle with this because, again, I am a big Brian guy, as everybody knows. But when I went back and re-listened to this, it struck a chord and set me right back to when I was a teenager in high school, and I went back to all of those specific moments in my life where I was listening to that, and I was like, yeah, there's a reason why it's number 1. It will always be number 1. No matter how many times I want to just go, well, maybe it's a little low, maybe it's not as high. But then I just be like, no, I cannot deny what has been my number 1 AC/DC record for fucking probably a good 10 years. Every fucking song on it is a banger right from the start. Sin City, Down Payment, Rock and Roll Damnation, Riff Raff, Kicked in the Teeth. That's a fucking beauty of a, two-faced woman with your two-faced lies. I'm like, oh, hello. Excuse me, sir. Are we having a sermon now? Up to My Neck in You. I know Brian I know when they did that in 2001 for when I think he was in Germany, I think. Anyways, Brian did a fantastic and bang up fucking job on Up to My Neck in You. Gone Shooting is fun. I will never not ever hear that and not think of Beavis and Butthead, the movie, the first movie that they did, because it was in there. I'm like, this is awesome. What's Next to the Moon? Just lyric genius, lyrical fucking genius, and it's all in this one album. It's perfect. That's it. It's perfect.
Cool.
Mm.
Okay, so yeah,
Bush Party, Running from the Cops. That's AC/DC, pretty much. Yeah. Powerage, just put it in place.
That's what they do. Right. Okay. Next up, 1979. Highway to Hell.
Highway to Hell.
I've got this in at 7th place for me.
Okay.
Personally, this is my least favorite Bon Scott era album.
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, it is the lowest ranked out of the Bon Scott era. And yeah, it is my least favorite of the Bon Scott era. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but it always took me. It's taken me quite a long time to kind of get into this one. Yeah, I was never really blown away by it, but there are some really good tracks on it. Obviously, you know, the title track "Highway to Hell." Hang on.
Right.
No.
I love seeing
him.
It's so much fun. Oh shit!
It's begun. Well, it can only go downhill from here.
That's right. We did this with Sabbath. We're good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I survived Sabbath, so I can survive this one as well.
I'm gonna get to that point too when I put mine in there. I agree. Go ahead, keep going, Josh.
Okay. All right. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I just think for compared to the ones that came before, I just think this one's just a tiny drop off from what they did before. But yeah, I do like Beating Around the Bush. I think that's a really cool song. Shot Down in Flames is a great one. If You Want Blood, You've Got It. Night Prowler, I quite like that song. It's a nice sort of album closer. But yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, 7th is still fairly high. It's not that I don't dislike it. You know, I just think it's a slight drop in what they were doing before that. So yeah, that's why I've got it in 7th.
Yeah, I have it in 4th place. And I don't know. I'm thinking maybe objectively speaking, you know, it's should maybe be higher. But the 4th place is pretty good too, I think. I think very often when people talk about Highway to Hell, they pretty much only talk about the title track, which I think is a shame because like you have so many other really cool songs on there. I Touch Too Much. That's a very important song to me. It was probably the first AC/DC song I learned to play, obviously because it's very easy. Parts of it, of course, right? But again, it's also a little bit different from your typical AC/DC song. And Beating Around the Bush is, you know, a little bit aggressive actually. Love Hungry Man, I dig that one too. Night Prowler, that's one of the creepier AC/DC songs. And there is kind of a theme. Apparently, for some reason, I also like the creepy AC/DC songs. So maybe I need help somehow. I don't know, but
no,
yeah, I think it is a fantastic album for sure. But it's in 4th place because there's some other albums that are just a little bit more important to me. So that's why it's in 4th place.
That's understandable. I have it in third. Like Dave said, and to be honest with you, I have a very hard time, disagreeing with him. The title track is the worst one on pretty much a stellar record from beginning to end. When I listen to this record, I kind of just skip right to "Girls Got Rhythm" because I've heard "Highway" so much, I'm so sick of it. You're gonna hear me say that a few times. "Girls Got Rhythm" is just, it's got that boogie and that stomp. "Walk All Over You" is kind of like haunting, but there's a bit of it does pick up a little bit. "Touch Too Much." Dan Lord said it himself. He said, anyone else noticed "Touch Too Much" sounds like it could be on an early Def Leppard album. Although AC/DC was first, it must be a Mutt Lange thing. Absolutely correct. Everything that AC/DC did with Mutt Langer is pretty much absolute perfection. The background vocals that he can get out of bands is fucking insane. And we all know Def Leppard. They've got vocal tracks for days. "Beating Around the Bush," very aggressive, very gnarly. Exodus did an excellent cover. It's always Exodus that does the best covers because fucking Zetro sounds basically like a pissed off, more distorted version of Bon Scott. We all know this. "Shot Down in Flames," one of my favorite tracks. "If You Want Blood's" great. "Love Hungry Man," what a beautiful bass line in that thing. That thing is just absolute groove. "Night Prowler," creepy as fuck. Kim and I probably should be on a watch list for Christ's sake. But something that I remember Dan Lord and I had a discussion about that, even though "You Shook Me All Along" was in every single pub and bar for girls to dance to, why is "Get It Hot" not in there? Why was "Get It Hot" not on in the fucking dance clubs? Because you think it starts off with that kick drum and the snap of the snare, and then it goes. It's only a short song, but fucking chicks can be easily fucking busting the move to that into the pubs and the clubs back in the day, right? Like that to me should have been is a much better shake your ass tune than fucking "You Shook Me All Along," because fucking snore fest that thing is. But yeah, number 3. Some of the absolute best stuff. Merciful Metal has joined. Hello, sir. Yeah, number 3. All right. Now that we're out of the Bon Scott stuff, which is always sad, let's get into what can be classified as the most diverse entire section of this discography, and that's the Brian stuff.
Yeah, and probably the most polarizing as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. Actually, I was just gonna say about "Highway to Hell," that song. I wouldn't have brought it up if Trev hadn't have said that that song's a bit overplayed. I think it's a bit overplayed as well, to be honest. And we're probably gonna get to that on that theme with this album, the next one.
Yep.
Back in Black. First one with Captain Geordie, Brian Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah. For me, I've got this. I'm already braced for this. I've got this in number 12.
Okay, understood.
Honestly, my personal opinion, I think this album is overrated.
Okay.
I think it's got some really good stuff on it, but it's also got some, it's also kind of a bit of a drop again from the previous album. I don't know whether it was. I remember watching a video from about "Highway to Hell." They wanted to make it a bit more accessible to the American market, so they made it a little bit more accessible, and makes me wonder if they kind of wanted to carry on, doing that. And I feel like they did, because I feel like this album's a little bit more of the, I don't know, arena rock kind of thing.
It is. Yep.
It's a little bit more, a little bit more sort of accessible, a little bit, I wouldn't say commercial. George G's just joined us. But yeah, I think the one big thing for me about this album is the vocals. It's taken me the longest time to, really get Brian Johnson's vocals. And to be honest, this album, I've never really liked his vocals that much on this album, to be perfectly honest. But saying all that, Hell's Bells is a fantastic song. The title track is an excellent song. I really like Giving the Dog a Bone. I think that's a really cool song. Shoot to Thrill as well is a pretty decent song. Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution is a really good song. I think, So I do like songs on this, but I think it's a bit of an overrated album, to be honest. And yeah, The Elephant in the Room, You Shook Me All Night Long, massively overplayed song, and it's a bit boring as well, to be honest. So yeah, that's why I put it at number 12.
Yeah, that is an interesting choice. No, I mean, we like what we like, and I think can only respect that. I have it in third place, so obviously I like it a little bit more. And
yeah.
Interestingly enough, that idea of songs being overplayed for some reason that doesn't affect me. Apart from Last Christmas, that one is overplayed, but that's of course not AC/DC. So I still love all the songs on this album, and I think You Shook Me All Night Long is a super fun song, and it's catchy, and I can sing along to it, and I think it's good fun. I think Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution is actually, I think if we talk over underrated, that might be a massively underrated song, because it's groovy, it's a little slower as well. But yeah, I mean, I think I do think it's a great album, and I'm not tired of any of the songs on there. Hell's Bells is, some people say it's actually a heavy metal song, which I might actually agree with. So yeah, it's in third place for me, and I love that album. Probably always will.
Okay. Yeah. First off, George, welcome. A little late, but that's okay. Fuck it.
I just got the link now.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
What I'll do is I'll rank this, and then because we're going in chronological order, and then you could go through all the Bond stuff and where you would have it.
Okay.
And then we can kind of continue from there after you do Back in Black. Okay, so Josh has got this at 12. Kim's got this at 3. I've got it at 8. It's the tired thing. And I think because my biggest problem is if anybody, again, you guys have watched my shit long enough, you know that I tend to overplay records so fucking much. Hell's Bells, it's great. It's the first thing I ever heard by them. I still enjoy it to this day. Shoot to Thrill is without a doubt one of my absolute favorite tracks that they've ever released. I think this record is one of Malcolm's strongest playing records. I'm a big Malcolm Young fan. What Do You Do for Money, Honey? Absolute underrated. Giving the Dog a Bone, you filthy sons of bitches. I understand. Let Me Put My Love Into You, absolute fucking sleaze. Let me cut your cake with my knife. Fuck me. Thanks, Bri. Thanks for causing me to, Anyways, fucking probably walked around with more hard-ons listening to this fucking discography than you fuckers can ever imagine. Little TMI, but that's how I work. Back in Black, I still like the riff. The riff is fun. You Shook Me All Night Long. throw that directly into the fucking garbage. Please, no more. And the reason why is that radio has ruined it. I think if radio didn't overplay the shit out of it, I think we'd be fine. Shake a Leg is great, and like Kim said, Rock and Roll Noise Pollution is absolute. Fat grooves. Two of my favorite stories about this album is obviously Rock and Roll Noise Pollution. Brian didn't know what to do at the start with the riff, so Malcolm goes, "I just give him some fucking bullshit, fucking preacher thing," and Brian just took a drag off his smoke and just started doing that intro part. And I'm like, yes, I love that shit. And then they didn't know what to do with Hell's Bells, the actual track. They're like, what do we do? How do we, we should take something out on tour to sort of commemorate. And then Malcolm just went out for a piss, just outside, took a piss, and he goes, fuck, why don't we just get a big fucking bell? I'm like, what a genius idea you have when you're taking a piss outside. And the fucking recording this in the Bahamas still will go down as one of the most confusing things ever. But yeah, number 8. Number 8 it is. Who's hard on stress? Yeah, well, that's another story for another time, Rog or Dave. All right, George, give us the gusto, pal.
All right. Well, sorry that I'm so late. How you doing, guys? Anyway, how's everyone doing? Nice to see you, Kim. Face to face, finally.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, Josh. By the way.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, I'm trying to go through it quick so I don't waste time. So I'm going through the first one to Back in Black, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, High Voltage, I put that at number 9.
Okay.
The album's great. It's a great debut. The first 2 songs, it's a long way to the top, and of course, Rock and Roll Singer is good. My favorite song on here is TNT. Some of the better try. I think the Jack is kind of boring. That's my opinion. But the other songs are great. Live Wire and High Voltage, great tracks there. So that's my number 9. So I don't want to go too fast. That's why Dirty Deeds, right?
Yep.
That's my number 3. It's one of the first albums I got, so I guess that's why I love every song on it. I guess I don't know what you guys put it at because I missed it, but
I put it.
Do you remember what you guys put it at?
I put it at number 2. Kim also put it at number 2.
Trevor,
13.
13. They don't have any bad albums in my opinion.
That's just
so it's hard to rank them, but I'll have to be honest. When I first started listening to AC/DC, I liked the Brian Johnson era better, but now I like the Bon Scott era better. So it's just when time goes on, because Hell's Bells is the first song I heard when I was a kid, and that just kind of got me into it. And then I wasn't into the Bon stuff, and then I got more into the Bon stuff, and it's totally different. Not different, but it's the same but different content with the band.
Yeah.
But anyway, for Dirty Deeds, what can you say about it? But the title track and the Big Balls, of course, is hilarious. Still, as childish as it is.
Yep.
And I always love Problem Child. And my probably favorite song on here is Squealer.
Yes.
Great tune there. So.
Pal.
You just happy my number one won't be my number 1 album won't be The Dreams You Dread. That's why you're happy.
Yep.
Okay, number 3. Let's see. Let Them Be Rock.
Yep.
I put that at number 7.
Okay.
Still a great song. I love Go Down is a great opener. The title track, Let Them Be Rock, is of course that's standard and everything. And Overdose. I like Overdose. I used to not like it. Now I like it more now. And A Whole Lot of Roses is a classic track.
Oh yes.
I don't know why they put a Problem Child on both albums though, but I guess AC/DC did what they did. So whatever. But yeah, it's a good album. So that's number 7.
Okay.
Good stuff. And let's say Porridge. That's a great one. It's number 5.
Okay.
Opening track, Down Payment Blues. That's always in my head for some reason. Whenever I'm taking a shower, I don't know why that song comes in my head, which is dumbest shit ever. But don't know why. Maybe because I'm paying bills when I'm doing out of the shower. But Kicked in the Teeth, freaking awesome song. Probably one of the kick-ass songs they do. Gone Shooting, another great one. Up to My Neck and You. I mean, you know all the songs. They're just a great. It's a great album. You know, overall, got great production. So that's my number 7. No, number 5. Sorry, I'm losing track here. Highway to Hell is my number 1, and not for the title track either because it's overplayed.
Yeah,
That's exactly what
I mean, it's overplayed. There's so many HD songs. There's those good classic albums. I mean, I like the albums, but they're all overplayed. Highway to Hell. But my favorite song out of here is If You Want Blood.
Okay. Yep.
That song is one of those songs that the hair raises on my neck, even now.
Yes.
But they're all good. Beating Around the Bush, Touch Too Much, you know, Walk All Over You, Shot Down in Flames. They're all great. Even put Shot Down in Flames, you put Serious Radio, they overplay that too, but I still like the song. But I don't need to hear Highway to Hell anymore. The song is just always on, always on. That's my number 1. And then we get to Back in Black. Back in Black's number 2. It's a classic.
Okay.
I understand all your reasons why you put it lower, but like I said, Hell's Bells. I don't get tired of Hell's Bells, even though that's overplayed too. Shoot the Thrill is also overplayed, but I don't get tired of that either.
Yeah.
You Shook My Night Long. Definitely don't need to hear that ever again. I mean, they played it at my wedding, so I played it at everyone's wedding. They played it at, but Rock and Roll Noise Pollution, I think is I look at that more as a deep track, but I think it's a great song too. But
yeah,
that's where I put it, number 2. So you may go on now.
Yeah, pretty much the same things that were said from us that you said. I mean, it's like very much a deja vu. But yeah, no, great choices, man. George gets a bonus.
Thanks, Roger.
Okay. Now we move.
Yes. To For Those About to Rock. 1981. Right. So, actually, before we go any further, George, do you want to put your camera on, or are you not bothered about showing yourself?
What's that? My camera's not on?
Camera's not on, no.
I can see it.
I see him right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
I see myself.
Yeah.
Oh,
I see myself.
Well. I'm the only one who can't see. That's very strange. Hang on. Let me see if I can just move. No, I can't. Literally, all I can see is a blank screen where George is.
No, it's on because I'm looking at myself and I see all you guys. You can the other two can see me. That's weird.
That's funny.
That must be some weird glitch that's happened because yeah. Oh well.
I'm here.
I wonder if anyone else. Yeah, everyone else can. Oh well, that's just a weird glitch that's just happened on my screen.
So only you can't see me. You can't see me.
For the uninitiated, that's
I see him there. They see me.
Yeah, that is very, very strange.
He's got the John Cena syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh well.
Okay.
Yeah, someone must have glitched on my screen or something. I don't know. That's very, very odd. But
maybe.
Trev's got to go. Yeah. Oh, he's seen AC/DC in April. Excellent. Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really
Those tickets are pricey. Those tickets are pricey.
Yeah. Mine was about £160 for mine.
Yeah.
Plus this T-shirt was 45 quid.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sadly, but yeah.
It is.
Cool. All right, Josh.
Could be my. Let's carry on. So yeah, For Those About to Rock. I've got it at number 11 on mine, and again, it's kind of got that sort of Back in Black kind of arena rock kind of sound again, sort of that more commercial sounding. But it's kind of like half and half. Half of it kind of sounded like Back in Black, and then half of it kind of sounded like the old 70s kind of Bon Scott era AC/DC, and I liked that. The title track for those about to rock is a fantastic song. I absolutely loved it when they played it live when I saw them last year. Obviously, because they always end with that song. It was just awesome. I've just lost my notes. There we go. I really liked Snowball. I thought that was a really good song. And the last song, Spellbound. Inject the Venom's a really, really good song. But what ruined it is Brian Johnson at the end of the song does that really high. And I'm like, oh, just shut up, man. I just hate that. But I think that's really the only big down point for me on this album is Brian Johnson's vocals is, not my thing on this album. I didn't enjoy his vocals on this one either, to be honest. But some good stuff, as you would expect with AC/DC. But yeah, I got it at number 11.
I have it at fifth place. Again, just because it has to be somewhere. I think it's a great album. Snowballed. Yeah, fun song. Nice guitar figures. And of course, you got a bit of a creepy song, "Evil Walks," which I always liked. "Let's Get It Up," fun song as well. And of course, the title track, which I really like as well. So now we're kind of in this territory where things get very arbitrary for me. So maybe I like it just as much as Back on Black, although it's like one space in between them. So I really dig this one. I love this album. So it's in fifth place.
So this came out my birth year in 81. I have this at number 9, just a step down from Back in Black. But again, with this discography, it's fucking hard to rank. Yeah. You have to get to a point where you select your top 5 and then you put the rest in a number, I guess. Title track is always a banger. Even though I hear it on the radio a lot, I never tire of it because it's just fucking. It takes a while to get going. Then once it hits, it's game over. Put the Finger on You. That's a pretty cool tune. I find on this record too, there's a few spots where they stop playing and Brian will get a vocal out. Music will kick in. Brian gets a vocal out, and then it's. I kind of like how they do that in most cases. Let's Get It Up is a good track. Inject the Venom is decent. Favorite track on this, Snowballed, like everybody said so far. It's great opening guitar lick, straight in, and it just stomps your ass the entire fucking time the whole way through. Evil Walk's good. COD's great. Breaking the Rules is not as good. It's a little lower. Night of the Long Knives is kind of nice. It's kind of like I don't want to call it a ballad, but it's like it's kind of like sappy of sorts. But I like how Brian does it vocally. It really does sound great. And Spellbound's a pretty good finisher for sure. Number 9, it sits.
All right. For me, it's number 4. It's probably the second album I bought by them. So, title track is one of my favorite tracks I ever did.
Okay.
It just hits you really hard, and this is going to be a silly story, but I remember them playing this outside at school when I was in 4th grade, when we had some kind of jump rope-a-thon thing when we were little kids, and I actually played this song when we were doing the jump rope thing when I was in the 4th grade, because I'm old. You guys are all young. So I'm dating myself. But anyway, I like the title track again, amazing. I Put the Finger on You. I like that one. Snowballed is, I think, is a great tune. I don't mind the whatever the end of the song is great. Spellbound, I think, is a really underrated track, and so is Night of the Long Lives. So I think it's a great track. I mean, always one of my favorite ones. Maybe because maybe it's the second one I bought. That's probably why. But I always like the album cover too. It's kind of plain, but I always like the album cover. I mean,
Just got the can.
that's me. Yeah, it's just it's a good one now. So that's my number 4.
Yeah. 21 Gun Salute. Now we get into the real sort of diverse stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So 1983, Flick of the Switch. I thought this was a really good album. Actually, I actually quite liked it. I put it at number 4.
Okay.
I honestly think it's the best Brian Johnson era album that they've done.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I think it just went back to the Bon Scott era AC/DC. You know, they kind of stripped it back. They they didn't they didn't think about making songs like You Shook Me All Night Long and those kind of songs that are radio hits. They just went and done 10 old school hard rocking songs, and I like that, straight to the point, short and sweet. I even thought Brian Johnson's vocals were actually pretty good on this album, which I know is shock horror for me to say that, but yeah. I thought it was a really good album, and I liked pretty much all of the songs, pretty much. But my favourites were probably Nervous Shakedown, Landslide, Guns for Hire, and Brain Shake. Really, really like them songs. I thought it was a really good album, and I put it at number 4.
Yeah, it's a great album, I think. So so this was the first AC/DC album I ever heard. I still have the tape. I found it in a barn in my parents' place, probably last year, I think. But I have it in 9th place, and it's not a reflection of me thinking it's a bad album or anything at all like that. I absolutely adore that album, and I think the songs also they're quite groovy. A lot of the riffage is groovy, like Rising Power and Nervous Shakedown. Right, that's the super groovy song. Um, and Flick of the Switch, kind of heavy, borderline maybe to some people, borderline metal. So I think it's a great album. I think maybe if I were to criticize something about it, maybe I'm not a big fan of that 80s production that's kind of drowned in reverb. I mean, if I were to criticize anything, that's not even a big problem to me, but I do think it's a great album, and it's super important album to me, obviously. And like I said, the songs are groovy, pretty much all of them. So I love the album, but it has to be somewhere, and that's 9th place.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like where we rank this stuff is, especially this, is very hard because it's one of the best rock and roll bands, the greatest rock and roll band in my opinion.
Yeah.
Number 2, I never get tired of this record. There's really only like one song that I'm really not that big a fan of. That's This House Is on Fire. I mean, it's all right. There's moments where I have to listen to it, but Rising Power, the title track just fucking rips. Nervous Shakedown is good. It's got that, like Kim, like you said, it's got a fucking wicked groove to it. It's like a slow, plodding, bluesy fucking groove track. Landslide, you could almost call that a thrash track because it's just fucking frantic the entire time. It's just pure, like almost chug-a-thon for these guys. I think this is one of my favorite things that Brian's ever sang on, I think. He's just screaming his guts out on this. Guns for Hire is fantastic. Again, Deep in the Hole, not so great. Bedlam in Belgium, about a fucking legit thing. When they were in Belgium, they played, and there was a big fucking riot and all this shit. And then of course, Badlands is not too bad. It's got some moments, but then you got that, that brain shake. It just, oh man, I love that fucking song so much. I could sit and listen to that all damn day and never get tired of it. This whole record, I could not get tired of it. You know what I mean? Even though there's the odd song that's not as good, there's a reason why it's number 2 just behind Power Ridge. It's almost perfect.
I got it at number 6.
Mhm.
So I love the album. I see nothing wrong with the production. I guess people complained at the time because it wasn't as polished, but I think production sounds fine on it. I think they did a fine job. Rising Power is a great tune. I love the title track. I remember the video on MTV playing that a lot. And my favorite 3 songs are Landslide, Guns for Hire, and Bedlam in Belgium. I think those are the 3 best tracks on there.
Yep.
But the rest of the album's good too. Like I said, I don't think there's a weak track on it. Maybe Badlands, maybe a little bit weak, but not that it's bad weak. It's still good. Even the weakest track is a good track.
Oh yes.
So I still think it's a good album. People did like the cover because it was boring. It was white, but it was fine to me. People complain about the dumbest shit.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, we all do though, don't we?
The same people love Back in Black, the cover on that.
It's the fucking
Well,
80s.
that was the homage to Bon Scott. That's why it was black.
Yeah.
That's what they don't realize that people don't realize that's why the bell held bells is the 3 bells for Bon Scott for his death. So there's reasons people don't know that. They just listen to songs. They don't know. People don't know.
People are weird.
But yes, that's my number 6.
Before we get too far, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I got to take a whiz. I'll be right back.
Fair enough.
Boner.
He doesn't have a piss bucket next to his seat. You still can't see me, Josh?
No, I can't. But I just went on my phone and watched, and you're there. So
I'm there. Why am I not there? That's weird. That's so weird.
I don't know why you're not on here, but
I don't know.
It's very strange.
It's okay.
I kind of don't
it is
want
what
to
it is.
refresh or do anything.
No, you'll mess something up. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah. Well, I mean, when we could just make a start on the next one. I mean, he's not going to be that long, is he?
I don't know. You never know. He didn't bring a magazine in there, so we're okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he's taking a cold shower or something. No.
It's too much for him. Oh my god. That's funny.
Oh dear.
What time was this supposed to start, Josh? That I came in so late.
We were going to start.
I thought it was supposed to be 3:30, but it's 3:30 my time. But I didn't get a link till when I got here. So.
Have you been out then? Or...
No, I said I didn't get the link from you until about 10 after 4 here. 10 after 4 here. You guys were already 46 minutes in already, which is fine. It's fine. Shit happens.
Right.
Shit happens.
Okay.
Not a big deal. I made it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just that. Well, yeah, we were gonna. Yeah, we started at my time 8:30, and for Trevor, I think that was 3:30. Correct.
4.
Okay.
Was it 4:30?
Yes. Remember, I'm the weirdo that's an hour ahead of George.
Yeah, it's
Right.
for me. It's 4:45 here.
Okay, and it's 5:45 here. So there
So
you go.
next time you'll just I'll know next time to let you know where are you next time.
Bye,
All
Keech.
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I did send the link to everyone about 15 minutes before we were going to go live. So
Maybe it's me and I get the notification. It's fine. We're here. No big deal. No big deal.
okay. All right. Okay.
I see the boys in the chat are having fun at my expense, cacksuckers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
Shall
right.
we
So
continue?
let's move on. Yes.
Mhm.
To 1985, Fly on the Wall. There it is. Trev's got it.
Got it hanging on my wall behind me too.
As you should, sir. Handsome devil.
Yeah. I thought this was another good one. I put it at number 6.
Okay.
I know some people have in the past said things about this album, say it's not as good. This is where the drop off, like they started having a massive drop off, and and I didn't really think it was that bad. I mean, I don't think it was quite as good as Flick of the Switch for me personally, but I thought there was some really good stuff on here. Even I thought Brian's vocals were actually pretty good. They kind of sounded a little bit different. I don't know whether maybe it was the version that I listened to or not, but it kind of sounded like they did like a Ozzy Osbourne Black Sabbath with his vocals and doubled them up. I don't know whether that's
possible.
But I thought like I could hear like a doubling up of the vocals.
It's possible.
And I kind of thought
It's possible.
I quite like that because it's something a little bit different. Yeah, they might have. I'm not so sure, but it definitely sounded a little bit different vocally, and that's probably why I liked it. Yeah, I really like the title track, and First Blood as well. That was another one of my favorites.
Yes.
Yeah, Sink the Pink. I quite liked that song. Back in Business was pretty good. And the last song, Send for the Man, I thought that was a cool song as well. So, yeah, I liked it. I put it at number 6.
Yeah. So, yeah. Flow on the Wall. I mean, I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah. My impression is that, yeah, like a lot of people don't like this album. I think it's great. I mean, I have it in 11th place, and again, that doesn't mean I think it's a bad album. It just has to be there somewhere. And I've always liked it. One of the songs that's quite often trashed is the song "Danger," which might be maybe one of my favorite songs from that album. Strangely enough, maybe it's the creepy factor. I don't know. You got like Playing with Girls. That's almost like, again, kind of a sleazy song, but it's fun. I think Stand Up, again, it has a similar groove to some of the songs from Flick of the Switch, and you got Hella High Water is kind of a groovy song too. So I do think this is a great album, actually. Again, if I were to point out something that I'm not a massive fan of, it might be the production again, maybe a little bit too much reverb for me. But I don't know. I think maybe it's 'cause, it's the arena rock and stadium rock era, and maybe they're trying to get that big sound down on the album. I don't know, but apart from that, I think it's a great album. I definitely don't agree with those people who say it's trash. They can say it's trash and they can have that opinion, but I just disagree.
So, I agree, Kim, wholeheartedly. Those people who say it's trash, right off the bat, they're a fan of Back in Black and Highway to Hell and no other record. Maybe Thunderstruck, but that's about it. Which is fine. That's their business. I have this at number 5. And my number 4 is going to be probably really controversial from some people, but that's okay. I don't think there really is a bad song on this record. Like Danger might be the one where I would probably listen to it last. It's still good. The title track kicks ass. Shake Your Foundations. I remember when I first heard this as a kid, just after listening to Who Made Who. Obviously, because Shake Your Foundation, Sink to Pink are both on there. I remember going to school and getting in. I used to get in trouble all the time because one of my buddies sitting next to me would say, probably say one of the lines of the songs, and then out loud I'd be like, "Ay-yo," and then right out the classroom I went and sat outside in the timeout because, I'm a fucking tool like that, right? As a kid. This and let's point out too, this is the first album without Phil Rudd, the absolute timekeeping machine. Simon Wright, formerly with Dio, he's on this, and he's on Blow Up Your Video as well. Sink to Pink, just perfect. Kim, like you said, playing with girls, that big fat groove, that nice little ooh, that little scream at the start from Brian. Stand Up rips. Hell or High Water is awesome. Back in Business Again is fabulous, and Send for Man. I mean, yes, I'm just going over each song, but this is almost perfection. Number 5. And Josh, I'm surprised you like this version of Brian, because this is where he's screaming the most, I think. He's really up there in terms of his voice. So 2 stars for you, kid.
I don't know. Maybe his voice started. Maybe I started getting used to his voice a little bit by then. I don't know.
Oh, it's possible. Plus, I think that's the record where they had like 3 or 4 actual music videos, and they're playing just in this bar. They just filmed a bunch of videos in a bar, and of course they got the little cartoon fly floating around like tee.
Yeah, I have that VHS somewhere.
Oh, do you? Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre.
it is kind of bizarre indeed.
It's bizarre. It's funny. Yeah, but like Kim, I give this is number 11 for me too. It's still a good album. I love the Fly on the Wall title track. I like Shake Your Foundations and Sink the Pink. First Blood, another good one. Playing with Girls, probably my favorite track on here. I don't know why, but it is. Back in Business is another good one. I'm not a huge fan of Stand Up or Danger. Now, Danger, I think, was the first single they released from this. Am I right or wrong? Do you know?
It was either the second. Yeah, it's either the first or the second, because I think they might have released the title track first. I can't. Now, well, I'll look it up on Wikipedia, but we'll see. I could be wrong as fuck. Oh, come on.
I mean, the songs don't stink. I don't think Danger and Stand Up suck at all, but they're probably my least favorite on the album now. But still a good album. I mean, I agree the production's not my favorite on it. It just a little bit, maybe, I don't know, say downgraded, but it wasn't as good as the other ones, in my opinion. But still good. It still sounds good. Simon Wright does a good job of drums on it. So.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything here in terms of when it was, like, which was released. But I did see here that they had Danger in the set list, and they said it fell completely flat, so they just said no more of that.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, it depends where they release it. So they release singles in different countries. It does well. It doesn't do well, so it depends on where they released it or where they released it too. So,
Agreed. Okay. Let's get to another wild record after that. More rawness, more AC/DC production, and the like.
Yeah. That one. 1988, Blow Up Your Video. And this is actually my dad's CD, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. so I just borrowed it for this. I got it at number 10, and that's sort of a little bit lower down, but I actually didn't think it was that terrible. This album, I thought it was quite interesting because there was a couple of tracks that sounded very unlike AC/DC, and I felt like they kind of stood out, maybe for good or for bad, but I liked that they did something just a little bit different with this album, and sort of didn't do their normal thing. And I did enjoy a lot of the tracks on here. I liked the first song, Heat Seeker. That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll. That's a good song. Mean Streak's pretty good as well. One song that stood out to me was Two's Up.
Yes.
It's just because it just sounds not like an AC/DC song. It's very different for them, and I think that's what stood out for me. And I thought, you know what, this is an interesting sounding song, and that's the one I've probably played the most from this album, to be honest, because I really dig that song. But yeah, not a bad album. Bit different for them, but yeah, definitely not a bad album. I quite liked it, and so yeah, I put it at number 10.
Yeah, I have it in number 12, and again, doesn't mean I don't like it. I actually think it's it's an interesting album because a lot of the songs are kind of different from your typical AC/DC song, I think. So it's interesting in that sense. I have a soft spot for That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll. Just the main riff, it's just a fun riff. And then another song that's quite different is Nick of Time, which is actually kind of a very melodic song. It even has like some, dare I say, elements that might remind me a little bit of some even more melodic hard rock, like some Hair, glam stuff maybe, which I don't have a problem with at all. And it's an album I actually listen to quite often, so I definitely like it a whole lot. Again, it has that that production, that stadium rock production that maybe I'm not a big fan of, but other than that, I think it's a great album. It's another album that a lot of people trash and that I wholeheartedly disagree with. 12th place, because again, it has to be somewhere.
Yeah. I'm just one above you. I have this at number 11. Between this, Fly on the Wall, and Flick the Switch, these are my they were the three that I listened to the most in high school because I had heard pretty much everything else up until that point. And obviously Heat Seeker starts out great. That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll. Those two both are singles and videos attached to them. Kind of quirky videos, but hey, it's DC, who gives a shit. Fantastic. I mean, it's a great record. It's at number 11. Again, putting numbers on things. Mean Streak is cool. Go Zone is a bit odd for me. Kiss and Dynamite, same sort of thing, but it's not horrible. Nick of Time. I agree. There's very much sort of like an 80s like pop, like Def Leppard kind of thing going on with it. Some Sin for Nothing. There's moments where I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to that like for a little bit, and then I kind of go, all right, I'm good. Rough Stuff is also kind of fun. It's lyrically it's weird, but I still really enjoy it. Two's Up is awesome, and This Means War. Holy shit, what an ass kicker!
Yeah, it's a good song.
It's absolute chug factor on that track, 100%.
Yeah, I got this one at number 10, which is funny. Do you guys remember the video for That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll? Where the guys in the bed all wrapped up?
Yes.
The guys all head to toe. That I always looked at that. I always said, looks like Kevin DuBrow. Because he's got the same wig. Same wig as Kevin had.
Yeah.
That's what reminds you. But it's funny because this album, I got this. I for my birthday. My grandmother bought me this album for right before I got my driver's license, the day before. She got my 70-year-old grandmother, 70 years old, got me this and Twisted Sister Under the Blade.
Grandma,
Could you imagine a 70-year-old woman going and buying those two albums? Especially Twisted Sister. She probably look like, what the hell am I buying my grandson? But she bought it for me. But anyway, as far as songs go, I thought the two singles were really good. I loved Kissin' Dynamite. And the same thing, I love the Two's Up. I love the ending where it like fades back in. And he goes, wow. Just the way he does that. I don't know why I like that part. And This Means War is a great track. I mean, I don't think it gets a little bit of hate in the album. I don't see why, though. I mean, maybe Brian's voice isn't as good as it was, but the way he was singing all those years, could kind of blow your voice out, I guess,
Oh, God, yes.
Because if you listen to him sing when he first sang with Geordie, you ever hear stuff with Geordie?
Yep.
You wouldn't even know it's the same guy. You wouldn't even know it's him. I showed my wife. I said, "Who is that?" She's like, "Who is that?" I said, "It's Brian Johnson." She goes, "No, it's not." I said, "Yeah." He could actually sing back then.
George, the amount of people that I have sent the song "Goodbye Love" to and said,
"Yeah,
who's the weirdo with the big hair and the goofy looking smile on his face?" And they have no idea. And I go, "Would you be surprised to know that that's Brian Johnson?" They look at me and they go, "Fuck off." I'm like, read up on it. And they come back to me and they go, "Why does he sound better there?" I'm like, "Well, because are you listening to the music? It's not anywhere near what DC is."
Yeah.
He had to match the power and strength and ferocity of AC/DC.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also a fun fact, before Brian joined, actually the same night he went to do the audition for DC, George, you probably know this, Brian is actually on a Hoover commercial. Yes, Kim, I saw that look. He's on a Hoover commercial. You literally type in Brian Johnson Hoover commercial, and you will sit there, and it's just these chicks with vacuums, and you hear Brian just screeching his balls off. And I'm like, this is by far the greatest thing I have ever seen on YouTube ever. It's fucking hilarious.
That's funny.
He sings that, goes and hangs out with the road crew with AC/DC, plays pool for an hour, completely late, and then gets the gig. Fucking hilarious. What a guy.
That's hilarious.
It is. But yeah.
That's crazy.
Fucking Brian. Yeah. I like the fact that Dave actually has blow up your video as his number one. That's wild. But it is Dave, and I'm not surprised that because he does like those those three in succession records. And I can't blame him. They're great.
Yeah, they are good.
It's understandable. Also, I mean, I can't speak for myself here, but for you guys especially, like those albums were like brand new when you was first getting into rock and metal. So I guess they probably hold, they hold a bit more weight, compared to other albums potentially.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
also,
for the big one.
Yes. The Razor's Edge come out in 1990. Cool. Right. So here we go. Yeah, it's quite a popular album, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've got it at number 13.
Okay. Nope. That's no, I get it, man.
Although I've got to say, before 3 out of the first 4 songs I think are absolutely fantastic, and probably the 3 of the best songs on the album.
Mm-hmm.
The first one being Thunderstruck, and as I said before, that was like the first AC/DC song I ever really heard and got into and really liked. So that one's always been a staple for me. I really love the second song as well, Fire Your Guns. I think that's a really good song. And the title track, The Razor's Edge. And again, it's got a bit of a different sound to me compared to most AC/DC songs. And that's, that really stood out to me. It's kind of had a bit more of like a darker kind of sound. I wouldn't necessarily call it like a more of a metal song, but it kind of had a little bit of like a metal edge to that song, and I quite like that. But honestly, the rest of the album was kind of hit and miss for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't like Brian's vocals on this album. I thought they were a bit more annoying than the previous albums. Some of the lyrics I thought were quite corny, but I mean, you get that with a lot of AC/DC stuff anyway. But I thought particularly on this album, especially Money Talks, and Rock Your Heart Out. I just thought they were real corny songs, to be honest.
Oh, stop.
They don't make corny songs. They don't make corny songs.
Oh, you wait till the fun fact I bring up.
And yeah, I thought this was actually not bad, but the fact that it's a Christmas song that marks it down.
Yeah, well,
but it kind of had a bit more like an old school AC/DC kind of vibe to me, which I quite liked. But then it's a Christmas song, so that kind of ruined it.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, I don't know. I put it at number 13. I thought, the first, 3 out of the first 4 songs, by far the best songs on the album for me.
Yeah. Okay, so the first AC/DC album I heard was Flick of the Switch. Mm-hmm. The first vinyl record I ever bought for my own money was High Voltage. Mm-hmm. And the first AC/DC album that was released in my formative years, that was The Razor's Edge. So, are you ready? Number 1 for me.
Okay.
Maybe it's not their best album, but it's super important to me because it was when, I was really getting into rock and metal, and that one came out, and, in school we all had fun listening to it, and you were almost like a little bit mysterious and cool if you listened to that sort of music. And I mean, there's no escaping Thunderstruck. It was a massive hit for a reason. It's a great song. The build up, right? It's just builds in intensity, and you have that oh wow, that's you can't help but sing along to it. And then you got like Fire Your Guns, which is kind of an aggressive song. The title track, I think, is great because it's ominous and quite dark sounding.
It is.
And then, of course, Got You by the Balls, another song with balls in it. That's always fun. Mistress for Christmas, it's you also got to remember, I'm not a native speaker of English, right? So I was learning the language, and I learned about shady things like having mistresses for Christmas, what that actually meant, from reading the AC/DC lyrics, and oh, that's what a mistress is. Okay. So I have it in the first place because it is probably one of the most important albums in sort of shaping my taste in music. So yeah, number 1 for me.
Fair enough.
I have a hard time arguing that with you, Kim, because I mean, this was released in 1990. I was I was 9 years old at the time. I heard Thunderstruck, and I'm like, what is this? This is great. And then listening to the rest of the record, of course, Fire Your Guns, kick my ass. Money Talks is good. The darkness and broodingness of Razor's Edge. Rock Your Heart Out, Josh, despite your thought processes, I love the bass line in that. I think that's one of my favorite things. Like, it's such a funky kind of groove thing that they got going on. Are You Ready? Always a good song about balls. Shot of Love. I like Let's Make It. I think that's a sort of a silly goose. Let's get my girl and let's go sit and have a picnic, and we'll smoke cigarettes and listen to tunes and all that shit. If You Dare is pretty dark and ominous. They have a thing about that. Fun fact, gentlemen, because Christmas time is always fun. Mistresses are fun. That song, based off of Malcolm Young, was written about Donald Trump. And I love the song, and yet I fucking struggle because I hate fucking politicians. And I'm like, why would you write a song about that prick? But despite that, as he said, he's like, well, really, he was running around getting fucking more chicks and just doing this and that. He's like, why not write it about him? I'm like, oh, okay. Sure, Mal. I'm sure there's wild reasons why you would do such thing, but Malcolm is an awfully strange duck, but we love him and we miss him. So yeah, there you go. Fun fact.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, people say it's the AC/DC Christmas album. Just my parents actually gave that album to me as a Christmas present because my parents are cool.
Yes. And the amount of times I tried to draw this and absolutely fail as a kid. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Oh man. I love it, but at the same time, it sits at number 10 for me, kind of in the middle of the road. But I mean, again, it's numbers and blah blah blah. We all know this.
Yeah.
So
the record. I got it.
Oh, sorry. Shit. Go ahead, George.
No, go ahead. You're going. Keep talking.
No. I'm trying to skip the fucking ball breaker for Christ's sake. Fucking hell.
I got it at number 8. I thought it was a really good album. It's definitely their comeback album. Made a lot of new fans, and like you guys, everything you guys said were actually right. Thunderstruck is a great tune. Big Guns, Fiery Guns is a great tune. Money Talks, I always like Money Talks. I know it's like probably the most commercial song on here. And I think the Razor's Edge song and If You Dare, they're like you said, are very dark and ominous too. So definitely work. Actually, one of my favorite songs is "Shot of Love." I thought it was a good tune. I think it all depends on when you come in. I was like just getting out. I was just in college when this one came out, so those are like your first years of high school, college, and you really get into music. It resonates with you more.
I agree.
So maybe that's why, because it's just your formative years. If you go back to it, maybe you don't feel as strongly about it, but that's why I put it. So it's number 8.
Andy's got a great point. That soundtrack is fucking excellent. Holy shit! I don't think there's really a bad tune on there. If memory serves me correct. I had
that soundtrack somewhere.
Yeah, I actually that's actually my second cassette tape that I bought, in around that time, just simply because of Big Gun and how cool it was. I was like, this rules.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We got a question earlier. Yeah, we got this question earlier. How many times has everyone seen AC/DC? I've seen them once, and it was last year.
I think I've seen them 3 times.
Damn.
And of course, because my parents are cool, my dad went with me to watch him one of the times, and so that's a good kind of family thing. My dad and my brother, so it's a family outing.
Cool. Really cool. I actually saw them for the Razor's Edge tour.
Oh, did you?
LA Guns opened for them.
That's
I remember that. Yeah, that's a weird one too. Yeah, LA Guns open for them. I got the T-shirt too. It has them on the back too. It's AC on the front, and then LA Guns on the back of the shirt.
Okay.
Bootleg shirt for the parking lot.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That's cool. Awesome. But they did put out that I don't remember what it's called, but that massive live album, right? Touring the Razor's Edge.
Yeah, which I got that too. So.
Which is that's another kind of cool thing to come out of the Razor's Edge, because that's a fantastic live album. The first time I heard the Dirty Lyrics version of the Jack.
Yes.
Again, not being a native speaker of English, it's like, oh, okay, you can sing that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you start to figure things out when you listen to AC/DC, huh, bud?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's how you learn about love and life and balls.
Balls, yes.
Well, that's what they're called. Okay.
Yeah. They did play very close to Andy and I. Andy and I are buddies. We both live in the same city as same with Andrew, basically. Yeah, they played in Moncton, and I was pissed that I didn't get to go see them, but that's okay. I had saw them, or I caught them in Montreal in 2000, and that fucking ruled.
Cool.
But yeah,
Awesome.
as long as I got to see Malcolm, I was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh no, she should have been a legendary rhythm guitarist. I mean, and right, rumor has it that he was actually a better lead guitarist than Angus,
He was.
but he thought Angus's lead style was better for the music. So I read somewhere someone said, "Well, why didn't you play the solos? You're better." And he just said that doesn't matter. It doesn't fit into what we want to do. So I mean, you can only admire someone for having that mindset because it suggests kind of a very small ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any like music out there with him playing lead on anything. Just outtakes or something.
That would
Oh,
be
maybe,
wild
yeah.
to see.
Yeah.
I mean,
Them just-
Malcolm. Malcolm was the main, like when he played rhythm, you felt it. Just watching him live was just like, Jesus Christ, Mal. Anytime he started a song was like, God, okay, I feel that right here. I mean, he had a really weird way of setting up his Gretsch, his double cut Gretsch that he had. He put 13 gauge strings on that damn thing and had it tuned to like E standard, which
Wow.
is normal tuning. And I'm like, how the fuck did you not snap that neck into pieces? I mean, that would have been super tight, but when he played, he fucking dug in and he hit them strings very, very, very hard.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
He's a nut. Now on to probably the sleaziest record they've ever released and the most wild in my eyes.
Yeah. Balls again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always about
This time
balls.
they're
Isn't it,
breaking
gents?
balls.
Yeah.
Ball breaker.
Okay. Yeah. Ball breaker. There's actually quite a gap for this one. 1995.
Yep.
5-year gap.
Well, touring.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. That would make sense. Okay, so yeah, I've got Ball Breaker bottom. I've got it at 16th.
Well.
I just thought it was a bit slow and a bit ploddy, and nothing really stood out much for this album. I thought they kind of went back to, they kind of stripped it all the way back and done some more kind of bluesy stuff, which is cool. I thought the second half of the album was a bit better than the first half of the album. And honestly, I think the title track should have probably opened the album, because I think that's my favorite song on the album. I did also quite like Caught With Your Pants Down. I thought that was quite a cool song.
Yes.
The Honey Roll as well. I quite like the Furor. That song was pretty cool.
Not Fura?
I quite like that song. Yeah.
You know what that's about, eh? Don't you, Jesse?
Yeah, I do, but I thought the song was quite cool.
Some nutball over out of Germany.
Yeah. I would guess at a title like that, yes. But I still thought the song was quite cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Without, context aside, lyrics aside, I don't know. I just thought it wasn't as strong as their other albums, so that's why I put it bottom for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have it in 10th place, so I actually have it above Fly on the Wall and Blow Up Your Video, and I think maybe that's because they actually did that already on The Razor's Edge, but on Ball Breaker, they've kind of gone back to a guitar tone and a production that's similar to their early stuff. But I really like this album. I think it's great. Hard as a Rock, I think is a fantastic song. It's fun. Um, you got Cover You in Oil. Yeah, the sleaze part, but hey, if they like massaging each other, that's fine, I guess. And of course, you have the creepy song, which I've heard a lot of people trash. I love it. That song might be my favorite song. That's the Boogeyman. What I really like about it is that you get a little bit of that more budgie style of singing, like a dark bluesy style of singing by Brian Johnson, which I appreciate, and it is kind of a creepy blues song. Yeah, Caught with Your Pants Down, super fun song. So I actually think all the songs on there are great, and yeah, I just really enjoy this album. So in 10th place. Maybe musically, maybe it's not better than Fly on the Wall and Blow Up Your Video, but it's just that I like that they've gone back to that more like AC/DC style production.
Speaking of that production, it was actually produced by Rick Rubin, who has produced many, many records that we all know, and some love, some we don't like. Here's the thing about Ballbreaker. I have it at number 7. When this thing come out, I used to borrow this from my friend, one of my buddies' dad, like all the time. Like we'd be just chilling or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna take that home again. He's like, man, why don't you just go buy it? I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna. Obviously, I've got the cassette. I mean, mine's in pretty well pristine fucking condition. There's literally nothing out of place on this. What I really did like is when I listened to it, I would have the booklet unfolded, and it has some like really weird, sort of cheesy sort of art on here. That's Caught with Your Pants Down, and Ballbreaker for the sort of the dominatrix kind of thing, and then of course the Fuhrer with the guy that's pretty much like a priest who looks like fucking Hitler. Yeah, there you go, Boogeyman. Yep. This, I think personally, this is when they were firing on all cylinders. And a lot of people will say, well, no, I think it was around, Razor's Edge or Back in Black. No, they were firing on all fucking cylinders at this point. I could sit here and just list all the songs. My non-favorite track off of this actually is Hard as a Rock. And it's not because it's overplayed, it's just that one is just not one that I would get. It's not one that I would put on and just listen to because I think I'd listen to it a fair amount. But just when you get right down to it, fucking Cover You in Oil, sleaze, absolute sleeve. I fucking love it. The video is cheesy. These chicks dancing and they get oil all over them. Like, good God, you're watching a DC video when there's chicks in it. The Fuhrer, another creepy style tune. Boogeyman. I actually like the live version from Noble when they were in Spain. That was really good. Honey Roll. Yeah, just absolute fucking sleaze fest that is. This is where they got Phil Rudd back. Yes, it absolutely. This is where Phil came back. They had Chris Slade on the Razor's Edge. Phil is an absolute drum machine. A bit of a psycho, as we know, but And yeah, Josh, you're right. I think maybe Josh said the second half is much better. Hail Caesar kicks ass. Love Bomb, Caught with Your Pants Down, Whiskey on the Rocks, and Ballbreaker. It's just number 7, and a lot of people will probably think that I'm crazy, but this is actually a really, really good fucking record. Production firing on all cylinders. Like that tour was amazing. I would have loved to see them on that tour. I think that would have been absolutely badass. Fantastic. Number 7.
I got it at number 13. Okay. I think when it came out, I was kind of expecting maybe another like Razor's Edge. It was a little bit different. I mean, the songs would start off a little slower, more bluesier, and I guess the time wasn't too thrilled with that. But now I grow to like the album. Just because it's 13 doesn't mean I don't like it. But I always liked the first song, Hard as a Rock, and Burning Alive. I like that one. I love Hail Caesar. I think that's a great tune. And I agree with you, Josh. I think Ballbreaker should have been the opening track instead of the closing track. But
Yeah.
We don't make these decisions. And it's cool that Phil Rudd is back in the band. I think he belongs there. He actually he's the rhythm. So he does great. He doesn't get enough credit because he just plays simple beats. He doesn't have to go crazy with no drum fills. He just does his thing. So all these drummers don't have to be like they don't have to be Mike Portnoy. They don't have to be Neil Peart to be good. They can still be just simple and to the point with his drumming. So but
and to your point with that, George, the one thing I always tell people about this band is, I'm like, okay, you can play the songs on guitar, you can play the solos, you can sing, sure you can play the bass, sure you can play the drums. Pull one of them members out of there and put your ass in there and you show me how you can play them songs. I guarantee you throw that whole fucking band off like that. Anybody can play a 4/4 beat. I mean, I can't because I'm rhythmically horrible, even though I'm a guitar player, I guess. Fucking jump in when they're playing. Jump in when they're playing. Let me see how you do. I guarantee, because that is without a doubt the tightest rhythm section in the history of recorded fucking music. I love Sabbath too. AC/DC is the single-handedly the greatest. Hetfield and fucking Scotty and will scream from the rooftops about that. Many guys do. Even though Phil's a bit fucked. Yeah.
Cool.
Now we get to the 2000s.
Yes. The 2000 era of AC/DC. Okay. Yeah. Stiff Upper Lip from 2000.
Before I saw him on.
Yes. Yeah, my birth year as well. So I'm about as old as this album. Yeah.
God, I'm old. I told you he's the same age as my son, Josh. I'm old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Nice.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
That's cool.
We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I put Stiff Upper Lip in 15th, just one above bottom. But I mean, just because they're that low down doesn't mean I thought they were utter shit or anything. It's just sometimes they've just got to go somewhere. But I like this one a little bit more than Ball Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
It had that more blues rock vibe going on. Again, I think I preferred the second half to the first half.
Mm-hmm.
I actually quite liked Brian Johnson's vocals on this album. Headline news. Mainly because I thought he sounded a lot more like Bon Scott. I don't know why, but it just had more of like a Bon Scott kind of vibe with the vocals with this one. And I really liked that because I do like Bon Scott more. I like the Bon Scott albums a little bit more as well. And yeah, I liked that he tried to sound a little more like Bon Scott on this album. So yeah, I really liked that. Yeah, and the songs. Yeah, I think I liked the second half a little bit better. I liked Satellite Blues. Can't Stand Still. Damned. Give It Up. I quite liked that song as well. The title track they actually played when we went to see them live. And yeah, it's all right. I think that song's pretty cool. I just think the Stiff Upper Lip bit is a little bit cheesy, but you always get a bit of cheese with them. And the song "Come and Get It," I was like, what the actual hell is going on in that chorus when they go? Yeah, I was like, when I heard that, because I'd not listened to this album before, last week. And when that song come on for the first time, I was like, what the hell are they doing? It was so weird, but yeah, I don't know. I thought I liked it a little bit more than Ball Breaker. A couple of, a lot of the tracks didn't really stand out too much, apart from the ones, as I said, Satellite Blues, Damned, and Give It Up, and the title track. So yeah, I'd put it in 15th for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is the only AC/DC album that I think is just a little bit weak, because it is more dialed back, right? Like it's more bluesy, which I don't have a problem with that, of course, but it's a little bit more dialed back. So I actually have it in the very last place. Again, I don't think it's a bad album, and I actually quite like "Safe in New York City." I think that's a pretty good song. But other than that, there aren't that many songs from that album that stand out to me. It's just, yeah, I think it's just because it's a little bit more dialed back, and that's basically it. So yeah, last place, but not a bad album.
This is the controversial one. I've got this at number 4. Yeah, I have it up really, really high. Because after listening to Ball Breaker, I'm like, I wonder if they're actually going to get back to just simple rock and roll and bluesy stuff, and because I love when they do the blues. I may not like it necessarily on the first 2 records, but I really, really, really fucking enjoy it here. That's funny. That's a funny comment. Most people don't know who he is. How the fuck do you not know, for crying? Anyways, that's besides the point. I guess most Australians are just fucking weird. We'll leave it at that. When I looked through this here, I remember the day it came out because I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and he had it before I did. I think he had it about 2 or 3 days before I did, because he's like, I got the new DC. Let's go for a drive and listen to this. From the moment it started, I think we played it about 4 times in a row. I'm like, this is fucking gold. This is back to the blues. Josh, now that you mention it, I think you're right when it comes to Brian's vocals on this. He does sound a lot like Bond, like the way it was delivered, because it's so bluesy. Stiff Upper Lip, the title track, is great. Fun fact, Lady Gaga's in that video. Yeah, that's actually pretty weird and funny. There was a thing where Apple did an interview with Lady Gaga, and then they surprised her with Brian, and they were driving around the city for a while, and they were telling fun facts, and that was one of them. Meltdown's pretty cool. It's got very sort of groovy House of Jazz, Hold Me Back. I mean, you could just smell the blues on this record. Safe in New York City is a fucking belter. Can't Stop Rock and Roll. Satellite Blues is a lot of fun. Come and Get It. Yes, it's weird. Yes, I get it. I was like, what? Okay. Different. Fair. We'll go with that. Damned is great. All Screwed Up and Give It Up. Fucking gold. Absolute gold. And that's why it's number 4. And it is the tour that I saw them on. And again, firing on all cylinders is in my personal opinion.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have it at number 16. Because you got to put it somewhere. And I think I was a little disappointed when it came out. I was just like a little bit slowed down a little bit. But as years got by, I've appreciated it more. So just because it's last doesn't mean I don't like it, because it's still got some great tracks, like you guys pointed out. I like the title track. I like Safe in New York City. It's a weird song, but it's still good. And Satellite Blues, another good one. I love the song Damned. That's probably my favorite song on here, is Damned.
Yeah.
And
it's a great track.
Yeah, All Screwed Up and Give It Up. They're good songs too. So it doesn't. It's not a stinker at all. It's just took me a while to get into it more. But still not one of my I guess it's gotta be somewhere on the list. You can't put them all, number 1. So still good though. Like I said, they don't put out a stick around. People say, well, they made the same album every time. I said, well, that's because you don't know AC/DC. You know 2 albums, like you said. You don't know.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily the band. You know, you can say that about any band, and they all sound different. Well, certain bands have that same sound through their career. You know, they'll deviate from it, like Overkill or Accept. They have the same. Their last 2 albums all sound like you can interchange the songs, but it doesn't mean they suck.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
And if you listen to the entire AC/DC discography, I mean, it's becomes very clear that Stiff Upper Lip does not sound at all like Fly on the Wall, for example. And neither of those albums will sound like Razor's Edge, right? So, I mean, I would say they don't even put out the same album all the time. I mean,
No,
there's a lot of variation there, yeah.
But you try to convince people of that, and they're just like, yeah, no, it all sounds the same. It's like, no, it doesn't. Listen
Yeah.
to it.
I
we can
just
say
go,
that
whatever you
about
say,
other.
I'm going to go and listen to AC/DC.
We can
Yeah.
say that about other genres too if you don't listen to it.
Exactly.
I think all new country sounds exactly the same. All the songs are the same about breaking up with your girlfriend or riding your pickup truck drinking a beer.
Yeah.
But it's not all like that. It's not into that kind of music, so I'm not going to put it down. It's just that's what I hear, but that doesn't mean that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just like Cannibal Corpse. It's like, oh, they're ripping up bodies and just blast beats and gurgly growls. I mean, fucking, it's all different in many different ways. You just have to, you just have to omit some of the Chris Barnes stuff because Barnes.
They just 6 feet under just played over here by me. They played with Niall over here. I didn't go to the show because I don't like going to the shows by myself.
Chris is looking a little haggard these days. He's still got
I didn't know it was even him. They showed him my interview. I'm like, what the hell happened to him? When did he go white? When did his beard go white?
He stopped smoking weed, apparently.
Yeah?
Apparently he stopped smoking weed and he turns into Santa Claus. It's like, okay, that's interesting.
And I was surprised. I was looking at the set list and they actually did 2 Cannibal songs. I guess because Jack Owen's in the band.
Yeah.
So they did Strip Break and Strangle and then Hammer Smash Face. But I was like, wow, I don't think he ever did any Cannibal stuff with 6 Feet Under ever. I don't think so. Anyway, he could have maybe. I don't in the early days, but
maybe in the last couple of years, I think too. But I don't know.
Anyway, sorry, we're getting off track.
Yeah.
Always time for Chris Barnes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's always a little moment where Chris Barnes gets mentioned.
Oh yeah.
It's like a running theme now. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
That's funny.
So now we get into Black Ice.
Yes. There's an 8-year gap between that and the last album. 2008. And I put it at number 9 on my list. Which it kind of feels low because I think this album's really, really good. So putting it 9th, it feels like it's low, but it's, it shouldn't, detract away from the fact that I think it's a really good album. It is long. It's by far the longest album they've ever done. It's about 55 minutes, 15 tracks. I think they could have cut a couple of songs to make maybe 11 or 12 tracks. It probably would have been even better, and it probably would have maybe even challenged the top 5 potentially. I love the middle of the album. I think the middle section of the album is my favorite. War Machine, really good song. Spoiling for a Fight, Wheels I quite like, even though it's a bit of a corny chorus of them going wee.
Yeah, pretty dumb.
Rock and Roll Train, they did that one when we saw them live last year as well. That's a pretty cool song. Skies on Fire is a really, really great song. The only 2 tracks I think I would have cut for definite on this is Anything Goes and Money Made. I think them 2 songs are a bit corny. But apart from that, it's a good album. I think Angus does some really, really good guitar solos on this album. We haven't actually, spoken too much about Angus. But I think on this album particularly, Angus done some really, really good guitar solos. And yeah, it's a really good album, even though it's quite long. But when I was listening to it for the first time, it actually didn't feel that long. Maybe it's because I was enjoying it so much. But yeah, I put it at number 9. And yeah, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great album. I actually have it in 14th place. And I don't know if you've noticed that the more recent albums, I have them towards the bottom. And that's basically because, I mean, they haven't been with me as long as, the early stuff. So that's why. I actually think I think it's a fantastic album. I like the production too, and I saw them live touring for that album, so that has something to say as well. Um, I actually quite like Money Made, that song, for sure. And I really like Stormy Mayday. It's more of a melodic song. And it sounds more like a song that you might have on Power Up a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more melodic for sure. And the guitar solos are great, and I really like the vocals on this one too. Brian Johnson is going for maybe a more soulful kind of singing rather than just screaming all the time. Although I have no problem with the screaming, so I think it's a great album, but it hasn't been as important to me as those albums from the 80s and the 90s and earlier. So that's the only reason why it's in the 14th place. It might even be better than some of those albums, just if you look at it without considering personal connections and all that stuff. But in 14th place, but I do think it's a fantastic album.
Yeah, I've got it at 12. I think, like Josh and George, I think you kind of agreed. If you were to take some of these songs and just throw them off the record, I think you would have had a much better, much tighter record. Let's see. Rock and Roll Train is great. Big Jack is okay. Anything Goes, I really like. That's sort of where Brian's kind of moving into this whole soulful kind of singing. Brendan O'Brien, I believe he produced this. And he was very much into the whole, listen, you just need to just stop thinking that you got to sing like Back in Black all the time. Just fucking sing, man. Like, you're a soul singer. And, of course, Brian's like, no, I'm not. Falls for forgetting that he was a soul singer and, like, in Geordie. Like, he wasn't screaming back then. This was recorded up in British Columbia, up here in Canada. And the funny thing was, during the recording of that record, they made him sing in a conference room that was literally right next to the receptionist. So here's Brian with the microphone in his hand, screaming his balls off, and fucking guys going by with pizza boxes, and the dog's out there hollering because they had a dog in the reception area, and the receptionist was like, what the hell's this? And here he is just screaming his balls off in this random conference room with a fucking SM57 in his hand, right? Or SM58. I find War Machine is okay. It's kind of not that great. Smash and Grab, Snore. They could easily have gotten rid of that. Spoiling for a Fight's cool. Wheels is cheesy. Decibel's okay. Stormy Mayday is probably the first time I ever actually heard Angus Young use a fucking effect, and that effect is just a slide.
Yeah.
It's like a glass slide, and I'm like, wait, what? All right, cool. She Likes Rock and Roll, chuck that one too. Skies on Fire, I could have chucked that one too. Money Made, I really like. When you listen to Money Made, it's that old bluesy sort of thing where it's just like dun 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 dun, and then it's like work, Money Made. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cheesy, but the way they deliver it is fucking great. Josh, shut your hole. Enough out of you. Enough out of the British fucking the British fucking peanut gallery, as it were. And of course, Rocking All the Way can go. Rock and Roll Dream is all right, and Black Ice is pretty gnarly. It's got that sort of sleazy, sort of swing, groovy kind of nastiness that only AC/DC is personally, again, is the best at. So yeah, fabulous. Just
Well, I have it at number 15, and it pointed out it's the last album with Malcolm on it.
yes.
So that's sad too, you know. And I got 15 only because, like you all said, there's too many songs on it.
Yes.
But it's not funny. We'll pick songs that we might like, and the other we kick off different songs. But Rock and Roll Train is one of the best songs they ever wrote. I think it's a great tune. Great. I think that's their first single. Came out with. I like Big Jack. I like War Machine. Spoiler for a Fight. Wheels is all right. I like Decibel. And I like Rockin' All the Way. I think it sounds like an AC/DC song. I just like the way it goes along there. So those are my favorite songs on here. But it's still a good album. It's just too many songs. Like, I don't know what I trimmed, but maybe Rock and Roll Dream, Smash and Grab. You know, they're just too many songs. You don't need 15 songs on an album, but especially at this time, because all the bands in the 90s did all that shit. They put let's put 18 songs on the album.
Ugh.
No, don't put 18 songs on the album. Just put your 10 best songs. That's why the albums, I think, in the 70s and 80s were so good. You put 9 or 10 songs on there.
Yeah.
And those are your best songs.
Yeah.
But then they put, too many songs. It's too much. It's just overkill with that,
I agree.
But I guess they do what they do.
CD, right?
The CD age, exactly,
Yeah.
I guess that's what got in their heads. Oh, we can do, I mean, I got albums that are half an hour long. Like, they're fine. They're in and out. They're done. They don't overstay their welcome. I mean, the third Kiss album, Dressed to Kill, is like 30 minutes long. They had to make the spaces like 5 seconds between each song to make the album longer. That's how short it was.
Yeah. Like, one record that didn't. Stuff. I mean, one record we know that didn't do that is Rain and Blood, but that's here nor there.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking this up here on Wikipedia because I have it open just to kind of refresh my brain on a few things. I guess they were going to work with Mutt Lange on this record, but I guess the schedule wouldn't allow it. So it might have trimmed down some of those songs, maybe, because I don't think he was a big fan of long records. Was like a lot of songs. And Mike Fraser, who works in Vancouver up at the Warehouse Studio, ever since Razor's Edge. Hello. Ever since Razor's Edge, he's mixed every single AC/DC record, and you can tell because it actually sounds really good when with the mixes are all tight, drums, bass, guitars, everything, vocals, everything sounds nice. It's not, no one's trying to overfight one another.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the producer of this, Brendan O'Brien. Do you know anything else he did? I'm not even heard the name.
Just you give me a moment here, sir. I will. Brendan's done a lot.
I'm sure he has. Not familiar though.
So I'll just go through a couple of them. Kansas, In the Spirit of Things.
Okay.
The Black Crowes, Shake Your Moneymaker. There goes my thumb again.
That's too good. That's too good.
Between all the Cannibal Corpse, Chris Barnes, and fucking thumbs up shit, I get the fireworks. It's an iPhone thing, I swear. So he also did Jackal's Jackal, Stone Temple Pilots Core, Get a Grip on Aerosmith, King's X, Dogma. Fucking, this guy's done a shit ton of records.
Because now you tell me those, I can kind of recognize the production value from the Jackal album and especially the Aerosmith album. We get it, so I can definitely hear it now.
He's done a lot of work with Pearl Jam. He did Korn's Issues. He also did a Limp Bizkit record. Wild. Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water. He was the mixer on that. That's wild. He's done a
wild
lot
title.
of producing, a lot of mixing. Like he's worked on a lot of pretty big records out of from 1988 to present day. Holy shit! He was the producer on Mastodon's "Crack the Sky." Fuck
Oh,
me! No
okay.
wonder why that thing sounds like a massive record. Fuck. No wonder why that's one of their best records. Let's see here. Yeah, and of course he's done the last couple DC records, Emperor Sand by Mastodon, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Loads of credits.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we move on to Rock or Bust.
Yes. Another 6-year gap. To 2014, Rock or Bust. Kim's got the vinyl. I've got it. I've got it a thing above Black Ice. I've got it. A place above Black Ice. That's what I was trying to say. I've got it at number 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it at number 8. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's a short and sweet album. Mm-hmm. There's some really, I thought there was some really cool rocking tunes on it. I actually thought it was pretty good, pretty consistent as well. I really liked the second half of the album. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought there was some good guitar solos on it and some cool riffs throughout, and vocals were all right. I didn't really see a lot wrong with it. I mean, I really like the title track, Misadventure. I thought it was pretty good. Baptism by Fire, Rock the House, pretty cool songs. Emission Control, I quite like that one as well. The only song I didn't like that much was Rock the Blues Away. I thought that was a bit. I think that was the only song I didn't like that much.
Unbelievable. That's okay. Don't worry.
I don't know, that's just me.
Yep.
Mr. Unpopular Opinion over it. But, I thought it was a pretty good album. I quite liked it. So, yeah, I put it at number 8.
Yeah, I think it's a good album too. Although I have it in 15th place. But like I said, I like all their albums and it has to be somewhere. I like it too. I think it's solid. Dogs of War, I think that's a great song. Emission Control, pretty good too. Solid throughout. But now we're kind of in this territory where it's a little bit harder for me to pick out, super awesome songs because it's not an album again that was with me throughout my entire, life and all that stuff. But I enjoyed it, and I've heard a lot of people trash it, and I obviously disagree with that. I put it on every now and then and have a blast listening to it. So 15th place, but doesn't mean it's bad.
Well, sadly, this is where I kind of give it a bit of grief. I went back and I listened to this when I knew we were going to be doing this ranking. I listened to this record 2 to 3 different times in a row. Rock or Bust, the title track, is pretty good. It's pretty solid. I'm like, the video was great. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Getting back to sort of, they're in a room surrounded by fans and the fans are having fun. Cool. Play ball? No. Whatever they were on when they recorded that, I don't get that. I don't know why. Again, I'm probably the most critical of this record because other than Rock or Bust or Rock the Blues Away, which is Josh's least favorite song, the rest of the songs just didn't sit with me, and I'm like, why am I not liking this? Is this the first record where I go, I don't like this? except for 2 songs. The Dogs of War was all right. I mean, once you get further on into the record, I'm like, why are these not sticking in my head? Because normally when I listen to a DC song, even on the older records like, Fly in the Wall or Flick the Switch, I'm like, these are deep tracks, but I love them because there's something that clicks. This record did not click at all. It's at 15. It's well produced. The song, the sound is awesome. The songs just it just didn't stay with me like I kind of hoped it would. Because I really enjoy Rock or Bust and I really enjoy Rock the Blues Away. But I think maybe what it might have been was Play Ball was so kind of boring to me. And I was like, maybe this is a record I'm not going to like. And that's the sad reality of it all. But I don't want to because I like the band. I love them so much.
You can't like everything.
I know.
Can't win them all, yeah.
I have it at number 14. But I have to say, I love, if I get this on the camera, I love this image of the guitars next to the amp. Absolutely love that image there. I think that's just a nice, classy thing to do, in my opinion.
That hurts so much. Just because of Mal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Well, he was still alive at this point, right? He was just couldn't do anything, He was just had the dementia going on, so that's pretty sad.
Yeah,
very sad. But I like the song "Rock or Bust." I don't mind the song "Play Ball." I like it. "Dogs of War" I like. "Bathtubs of Fire" is good too. "Hard Times" too. It's not a bad. I like it better because they didn't put as many songs on it as Black Ice. They kind of trimmed it down to like 11 songs, which is proper for an album. 10, 11, 12 songs is fine. But I think that's why I like it better. But it does get slagged a lot. People don't put this very high, like yourself. But you can't like everything. But still, I still got really good tracks on it. I still like it a little better than Black Ice, but that's why I have it at number 14. So
cool. Fair enough.
Last but not least.
Yeah. Last up is Power Up. And another 6-year gap. Well, I mean, never say never, but possibly their last album, potentially. Although you never know, they might uncover a load of other stuff from the archives. But I don't know. I got this when it first came out. Well, not first came out, but I think I got it that year when it came out, or just after, in 2020. Yeah.
Shit.
And I did a review of it back when I first started doing YouTube. I actually did a review of this album. So yeah, this is one I've known quite. I know it quite well, and I've had it. It's been one of the albums I've had the longest in my collection. I've got it in number 14 because it had to be somewhere, and 14 because I mean I like a lot of the tracks on here, but for some of the tracks you can definitely tell that they were off-cut tracks from previous albums, because that's pretty much what this album is, just a load of tracks that they had from the archives that never made previous albums, and they just compiled them for this. And for some of them you can kind of tell that definitely not a bad album. As I said, it's just got to be somewhere, and 14th is where I put it. Vocals, not so bad. I think I preferred Brian's vocals on the previous albums, to be honest, than on this. But that's just me. I quite like a lot of the tracks on here. As I said, the first couple of tracks, Realize, Rejection, Shot in the Dark. I think my 2 favorite songs are probably Witch's Spell and Demon Fire. Love them songs. And I really like Systems Down, Money Shot, and the last song Code Red. I think those last 3 tracks are really good as well. The other songs, not so much. No Man's Land and Through the Mists of Time, I think, are my least favorite on the album. Yep. Okay. And Kick You When You're Down. I can't lie. In that chorus, when they go, "Oh no," absolutely had me in stitches.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. I won't lie.
Yes, I was like, I completely forgot that from because when I went to listen to it again for this, I completely forgot all about that. And when that come on, I was like, "What?" Oh no! And I'm like, "What?" But yeah,
fucking cheese, man. The fucking cheese, dude.
Yeah, no, it's a good album. And what I did like about this is that on the back here and on the booklet it says this one's for Malk, and I really like that.
Yeah,
so it's a nice tribute to Malcolm. Yeah. So yeah, I put it at number 14.
Yeah, I thought I was going to put it last, actually, but when I listened through the albums, I actually ended up putting it in 13th place because there are a lot of the songs that kind of have, like, these are actually interesting, for AC/DC songs. They're different, including the Oh No, because I thought it was kind of creative in a way that you kind of almost like a call response kind of thing, which I haven't heard a whole lot in AC/DC. And a lot of the songs are quite melodic in a way. They're almost like pop songs in a way, like AC/DC style pop songs, which for some reason I thought was really interesting too. I think Witch's Spell, Demon Fire might be my favorite tracks on here too. Systems Down, Code Red. I actually think there are lots of really good, really interesting, and very melodic songs. So that's probably why I ended up putting it in the 13th place. I bought it too when it came out. I bought that, that box set that, press a button and it starts playing music and weird stuff.
Yeah.
And then I picked up the vinyl a little bit later. But yeah, I actually think it's a really good album. And if it is gonna be their last album ever, I think it's a pretty good one to go out on. I mean, definitely nothing to be ashamed of there. So yeah, I enjoy it. 13th place. Did not expect that myself, but there it is.
I have it at 14, and the usual. Where do you put it? I get very excited for this when they announced it in 2020. I'm like, oh look, a shining fucking footnote of this shit year so far, because things. Realize is a good tune. I think it's a solid opener, especially for where the band is at this point in time. Hello, Anthony. Thanks for joining in super late, but hey, it's all good. Rejection is all right. I don't mind that. Shot in the Dark goes right back to the same thing like they did on Stiff Upper Lip. All of these songs were written in full by Angus and Malcolm, like Josh had said. Because they were just stuff that they had in the vault, and they let's put these out. Through the Mist of Time, and I'm gonna come off as a bit of a fucking sissy, but I'll explain why. The first time because when I saw the song titles, I'm like, Through the Mist of Time, that sounds like a very more metal sort of song title. And then I hear it and I go, what in the fuck is going? Okay, I'm gonna listen to this because I want to hear the scoop. I read along to the lyrics. And the second verse goes, feel the whisper on a whirlwind, monster shadows, a light gone dim. The monster shadows, a light gone dim is about Malcolm. That specific thing hits because it's like dementia. My grandmother's passed away from dementia. My grandfather has passed away from dementia. My father died in 2007. The first time I listened to that moment, I fucking started crying like a big baby. I'm like, oh, that's not good. Because, Malcolm was a massive part of my childhood and adult years. Hearing that and the way Brian sings it, I'm like, oh, damn it, here they go. And then everything starts falling. I'm like, God damn it. So like, why is it AC/DC this? Why that's the first thing to make me cry. Then I get into Kick You When You're Down. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. But Demon Fire, by far, like, when you guys listen to that, does that not make you want to jump in a car, crank the fire a car over, and just start jackhammer through fucking gears, ripping down a highway? Like, if that doesn't make you automatically want to just start speeding, I don't know what song of theirs will. That's fantastic. Then it really sort of takes a bit of a nosedive. It sounds great because it's still done by Brendan. The songs aren't horrible, but we could almost stop at Demon Fire and go, yeah, I'm good with that. But yeah, it's at number 4. It's at 14. Shot in the Dark, Through the Mist of Time, Kick You When You're Down, and Demon Fire all day long. But yeah, damn this band for making me cry, because fuck it. You know,
I think that's great that they touch the nerve in you to make you do that. That's a mark of a good band and a good song to hit you and make you that emotion. That's what music is supposed to do.
Yeah.
It can make you happy, make you mad, make you, like want to kill somebody, or just make you happy or make you cry. That's the mark of a good song. But I have it at number 12, and I was actually surprised it was coming out because all that stuff going on beforehand. There was no Phil running the band. We weren't sure. Like, were they going to put AC/DC album out with Maxwell Rose singing? I don't want to know if I want to hear that. So I was like, when I was so happy that Brian's back in the band, and it's like you said, it came out in 2020, which was a shit year. So it's like a bright spot. So that's why I have it on 12. I thought the album was good. It's a good album. Like I said, this is the last one to go out on. But all those stuff you guys said about the album, I agree with. Realize I thought it was a great opening track. I like Shot in the Dark, and Which is Spell and Demon's Fire. Great songs. I like what do you call it? Code Red. So I like those songs too. I think that, it's a solid album. It's good album. This is what they're good. This is it for them. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But it's AC/DC. It's what you expect, and it came out in a year where I think that we needed something.
Yeah.
It was just an album. We needed something to make it a little bit positive. And the surprise is they put it out in that year because they wouldn't be able to tour.
No,
they just put the album out anyway, But basically, they're just touring for it now, basically.
And like the thing was too is they had it completely recorded between September 2018 and August 2018 to September 2019. For them, that is a very, very long time for them to do a record. They normally would be done in a month and a half. But then they were they're like, yeah, okay, so it's recorded. We're gonna do the thing, and then everything stops. They couldn't even get back. They couldn't do anything, and it was just like, okay, well, let's put it out towards the end of the year, and
I got one more thing to ask you, Trev. Maybe you know. I noticed that after I think starting with Blow Up Your Video, that they stopped having Brian Johnson write lyrics. He wrote on the back of Back in Black for those about to rock, flick the switch and fly on the wall. Then after that, it was just Angus and Malcolm doing everything.
Well,
there's no credits to Brian, and I was wondering just why. I thought that was kind of odd.
I think
unless I missed it in the liner notes, because you would say all lyrics by him, but I mean he would contribute to a lot of the albums, and then boom, he was done. He wasn't doing anything. It was just all Angus and Malcolm. Just curious why.
I really don't know. I know during like Razor's Edge, he was going through a divorce with his first wife, I think, first or second wife. And so he really didn't have much writing credits in that sense. I think Angus and Malcolm just felt that they were writing better lyrics towards around that time. I mean, they do write pretty good lyrics. It's cheesy.
I'm not saying that. I just thought it was just odd that he just stopped writing lyrics.
Yeah. Your guess is
just curious if you knew.
Yeah. But no, they and of course, if it again, like we all say, if this is the last record, then it's a solid record to go out on. Dave in the chat seems to think that there will be another album, but not a tour.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
That's an excellent question. Andy, who again is one of my buddies, I wonder how much of Back in Black's lyric were actually started / done by Bon. From all that I've been told and I've read and heard in different interviews, apparently Bon did have a bunch of songs written lyrically, and some of them are in the record. There's supposedly somewhere out in the internet that there's a version of I think Back in Black sung by Bon, but it's obviously not the same lyrics.
I've heard that too, but I've heard it was what was it? Let me put my love into you. There's actually a video of him singing it.
Okay.
That they have somewhere. That's what I heard, but I don't know. I didn't know about Back in Black, but it could be. Probably a lot of stuff, but they just don't release it. You know, because they're working on the album when he died. So
yes,
they got to have.
Because they had the music all done. A lot of Bon had a lot of stuff written down, and that would make sense. Let Me Put My Love Into You would make the most sense because that sounds very much like a Bon song.
Yeah,
I do know that. Brian was having a hard time with some of the lyrics, and he said that there's a moment where he was just in the studio sort of by himself and he was writing stuff and he was struggling, and he had a moment where he refuses to talk about it, but he said that moment that he had snapped into his brain and he just started writing. I personally think, and call me crazy, but I think he somehow heard Bon's voice in his head or saw the ghost of him maybe, or the spirit, or something happened to him in the studio, and he just started churning them out like left and right. And you shook me all night long. I think was one of the one that he just started just going right nuts on. So I would love to know that story, but I don't think we're ever going to.
No. Did you ever hear the some guy did an AI thing of Bon singing "You Shook Me All Night Long"?
No,
it's just very fucking weird, and I'm like, don't do that. Don't be AI and shit and ruining it. Why do they gotta do that?
Because people are just mental and they feel like they're gonna take computers and turn AI into this great thing when it's absolutely not. It is horrific.
Agree.
Roger, I'll call. Yeah, Roger always calls me crazy. I know.
Yeah, I just had a look on the notes for Black, and it says all titles: Angus Young, Malcolm Young, Brian Johnson. So
yeah.
I would guess to that maybe they didn't use any of Bon Scott's lyrics, or maybe they did and they just.
Yep.
But surely if he did, surely they would have given him credit because this is his album. This is his tribute album.
Yeah.
So
maybe he thought the song titles and did some lyrics around it. Maybe they just changed the lyrics, but maybe he thought of some of the song titles.
I mean, very, very possible. Because I think too, with the credits, Josh, I think where the record was already out and a lot of the lore started to come in later on. I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot of it because there was even some talk. Like I think I might have read part of the book, Bonfire, the big box set that they released, which is fabulous, by the way. I think that's where you see some of that. Josh, if you haven't heard that, you should really get on and check those songs out from Bonfire. Because there's a whole demo thing on there. Like there's demos of certain tracks. And they do have all the Back in Black as the 4 CD, like there's 4 different CDs of it. It's actually pretty cool. There's some live stuff. Some of the rare tunes that you can't find.
Yeah. That other one, Backtracks, is a good one too. They came out years after that.
That's all the stuff that no one ever hears.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of that stuff. Some of that stuff from that one that Bonfire is from their Australian releases.
Yes.
Like some of those around it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, if you want to hear some really crazy tunes, I would go back and check them out, Josh. I think you'll like a lot of the stuff on Backing Tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I really think you'll enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely will. I know you can get it on Spotify, so I could easily just check it out.
Yeah, and some of the demos that they had for I think they for Touch Too Much. There was Beating Around the Bush. It's same bits of music but different lyrics.
Yep.
Beating Around the Bush is really cheesy, like really sort of, girlfriend in the back seat of a car kind of thing. So if you want to have a bit of a chuckle, I mean, it's good stuff. But I think you'll dig it. I think you'll dig it for sure. There's lots out there. Mm-hmm. Yes. Paris 79. That was, that's probably one of my favorite things that Bond did outside of obviously Power Ridge, but that was just fucking amazing. Glorious.
Awesome.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, one sort of funny thing with Brian's audition, Josh, I don't know if you know this, but you might find this entertaining as hell. Not only did he sing the whole Hoover commercial, and I'm telling you, you got to go listen to it. It's only 30 seconds long. You're probably going to laugh. The first song that Brian sang during his audition was Nutbush City Limits by Tina Turner. And apparently the band was like, yeah, we'll give it a whirl. Gave it a whirl, and apparently he blew their socks off just with that song. Then he sang Rosie, and then it was like, okay, we're good to go with this guy. But yeah, Nutbush City Limits.
Definitely.
Only Brian Johnson can get away singing that song at an AC/DC fucking audition. What a night.
Isn't there a story that Bon Scott went to see Geordie and saw Brian Johnson play, and he was having appendicitis?
Yes.
At the time, he was screaming. You're like, "Oh my god, he's unbelievable! He's rolling over the floor. He's having appendicitis during this show."
Yeah, he said Bon Scott said he was literally the second best thing to fucking Little Richard. I'm like, well, that's a statement. But here he is having an appendicitis, is turning to absolute dog shit in his guts, and he just rolling around, hair everywhere, screaming his guts out. Fucking hilarious.
That's great.
What a band. What a band.
Definitely, the Geordie stuff is definitely worth checking out too, I think.
Oh, yes.
Just, to hear a different side of him.
What is he? Is he on two albums or just one? Geordie. I have one of them, but I don't know if that was the one he had. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. I have a kind of a compilation called Brian Johnson and Geordie out on a kind of a weird Portuguese label, but it's worth checking out. I think it's really good.
Yeah. I don't know how many fucking records they weren't out for very long.
I got this one.
Yes, because that has the cover of House of the Rising Sun, right?
Yes.
Now that's weird. That's weird, but it's not horrible. Yeah, so Brian was there from 1972 to 77, and he was at that time he was in his 30s. So he was kind of like teetering off, but until they called him to go audition for DC. I mean, the big songs that they had, I think, with Brian are like "Don't Do That," all because of you is different. Seeing that video in black and white is weird. It's got Brian in these jeans and cowboy boots and a cowboy jacket with the fucking tassels, and I'm like, what in the fuck is this? All right, fine. He's got tassels. He's got his big hair. He doesn't have his hat on. He doesn't have the fucking guns out at that point yet. And then Goodbye Love. Goodbye Love freaks me out even more. They're in this they're filming this thing like in Germany, like this German talk show thing. And he's got these sort of light blue jeans, bell bottoms, fancy looking shoes. He's got a leather jacket on and it's open, and he's got this white scarf on, and I'm going, what the fuck is going on? Okay,
Yeah, I see that. It's very odd.
Josh, go watch it. If Josh could
laugh.
spend like 4 hours doing this, and he would just in stitches the whole time. Because I'm like, these vocals are amazing, and then he turns into this ruffian, this Jordan Newcastle. You know? I love this man so much. I mean, they really are the ugliest band on the planet. Let's not mince words here. AC/DC make the best rock and roll for 5 of the ugliest dudes talking about getting laid. Fantastic. There was hope for me as a young child, you see.
They're kind of tied with the Stones. With the look.
I don't know. I think DC's prettier than the Stones. And that's saying a lot. Yeah.
Too funny. Too funny.
I mean, look at the fucking lips on that thing. That's something any girl would just want to take him home to, wouldn't he? Ugliest of bastards. Yeah. Anywho.
That's too funny.
Yeah. That being said. Yeah, Josh, you got homework to do, buddy. You'll get a laugh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I'll definitely want to listen to those compilations, yeah. Yeah, awesome. Cheers, Roger.
Cheers, Rog. We'll see you later, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Unless anyone else has got anything else they want to add.
I don't know. Maybe just
that's all right.
Show these, although we're not allowed to talk about
you
them.
son of a bitch!
Yeah.
Fuck.
And speaking of ugly people, I mean the arms on this one.
Bastard.
Wow, that's cool.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know
that's
whether
original?
I like this one better or the other one. I mean the cover art, the classic one here, the hypnosis one is pretty cool too. But yeah.
Wow.
The only rare one of those I have is this, because the wife bought it for me off of Amazon for my birthday.
That's cool.
Where did you find those two fucking releases, Kim? Bastard.
I found them in a second-hand shop called Læsehesten in a town called Aalborg in northern Denmark, and
of course you did.
I'm pretty sure they're not kosher. I mean, they're not the OG. But I picked them up anyhow because I thought it was too cool.
Well, yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I remember I was in one of my local shops here in town, and I did manage to see Dirty Deeds on vinyl, and it was a picture disc, like of the OG version. Yes, big balls indeed. And the picture disc was going for $80 Canadian at the time, and I'm like, oh, I so fucking badly want it. I got the money scraped together later, went to buy it, gone. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at least I held it in my hands. At least I can say that. But that high voltage, I have been looking for that for a half decent price for a long time. And Kim just goes to some shop over in Denmark because you guys have everything over there and we have nothing here in Canada. We get fucked.
That's funny.
Man.
But they're fun actually. I don't remember if it's on the high voltage one or the TNT one where you have some of the songs that are also on the Jailbreak EP.
Maybe on one of the other ones because on the Australian version of TNT, it's a long way to the top. Rock and Roll Singer, the Jack, Live Wire, TNT, and then we have Rocker, Can I Sit Next to You, Girl, High Voltage, and School Days.
Mm.
Or at least on my version, that is.
Yeah. But that EP is fantastic. I mean, and this, again, the songs a little bit different. So that one is definitely worth checking out too if somebody hasn't heard it yet, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, from Jailbreak, you mean?
Jailbreak.
Yeah.
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 I
Yeah.
love Jailbreak, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
Made it out with a bullet in his back. That's a great line.
There's a story about that. So when they were recording that part, Vaughn was having a hard time getting that with the bullet in his back. He was having a hard time with it. So he grabs a fifth of Jack Daniels, sits on a stool and he cracks it, takes a big swig, hits the line, doesn't do it, takes another big swig, doesn't do it, takes a bigger drink, doesn't nail it. And he gets really mad and he starts yelling, takes the biggest gulp he had ever taken on during recording, put it down, just leans in, hits the line as we hear it on the EP, falls off his chair completely smashed. And they go, "That's the one." And he goes, "Why?"
That's funny.
Oh. Yeah, there's so many funny stories with this band. Like they're just fucking weird, but they're wonderful at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really
One of
much
them.
else to kind of bring up that if I go back into my fucking vault of my head of what I know versus what I don't know. Yeah, other than Brian's audition, how funny it is. A fucking vacuum commercial singing a little bit of fucking Tina Turner, whole lot of Rosie, and he gets the gig. Fuck, that's an easy gig. It's an easy gig to score. But yeah. Now, actually, there is one thing before we depart. George, I don't know if you've heard this, or Kim, if you've heard this at all. There's been rumors that after Highway Hell and just before Back in Black was recorded, that Bon had noticed how his drinking was getting completely out of control. And he was because they made so much money and he was looking after himself and he had his teeth all fixed. And there's this rumor that I've seen online where this guy had said that he and Bon became friends after being out on the road, and that he was going to move to Texas, like Houston area, move there permanently, stay there, and somehow he snuck in that Bon was going to quit because the partying was too much, because they were on the road so much and they were drinking and they were going and going and going. I don't know how true that is. I mean, I don't think any of us are going to ever know unless this guy writes a book and like puts it out and like tries to expose a bunch of things. I mean, that could be conspiracy theory, I guess, but I don't know I think that could have been like a big blow to rock and roll as a whole if he had a quit and they never got Brian. Because I mean, they looked for different guys and they couldn't get anybody. I mean, I think at one point they said they wanted to get the guy from Crocus because he sounded like Brian. But I mean, some fan in Cleveland, some 14-year-old kid wrote to the management and said, "You really got to find this guy Brian Johnson from Geordie. He's fantastic." And then they find him, and then all the quirky bits follow through with his audition, and then they go on to be one of the biggest selling rock and roll bands with Back in Black. I mean, fucking, that would have been weird had he have quit, but who knows?
Who knows? We'll never know.
No, we won't.
You can ask Bon one day yourself.
Yeah. Whenever I get to wherever the fuck he is. But yeah. Well,
Yeah.
fellas, we're hitting that 3-hour mark. I think this is the longest that Josh and I have done a pod.
It's a lot of albums to go through.
Well,
there
yeah.
is.
Oh,
Well, you guys only did the Sabbath one together, so it wasn't as long.
Yeah, that was wild.
yeah, that was entertaining.
That was a lot of doubts on both of our halves, and Andrew threatening to punch me in the nose a few times. Josh with terrible choices in certain albums.
Yeah. Yep.
But,
I thought I was going to lose all my subscribers that day, and I didn't. Yeah.
oh,
Oh.
Cool.
but
Cool.
yeah.
Very
Well,
cool.
boys, I guess that's the end of that.
Oh yeah, we wrap it up there. Yep. Thanks ever so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for
anytime,
coming
man.
on, everyone.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
Sorry I came late.
That's okay.
That's all
Thanks
right.
for popping on, Kim. That was a pleasant
Kim.
addition.
Yeah, it was fun. Hope to be back at some point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me, all the
Trevor
cheeky girls.
gonna do
What were you saying,
maybe
Josh?
not. I was gonna say me and you, Trevor, we're gonna do a Bullet for My Valentine one next.
With Ryan still, right?
Ryan, yeah.
Yep.
And then after that, we could do anything after that. If anyone's got any ideas that they want to do. Yeah, we can see if we can do another one of these and get a couple of people on and have
Scorpions.
Scorpions. Okay.
Just an idea. You said to spit out ideas at you, so they got quite a wide variety of albums.
Yeah.
Some good, some horrible.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Yeah. I think if anything with the Scorpions, I think the one thing that needs to be said is the intro to the Sales of Sharon is just from a guitar playing standpoint, holy fuck. Uli John Roth is a nutball. Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised we'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Well, then, Dan, you'll have to come on stream, you bastard. But I know his schedule is quite wonky, too. So. But, yeah. Well, we'll think of a couple ideas, Josh, and I'll fire them your way, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay. What a time. It was lovely.
It was. Nice time.
Awesome.
Take care. Guys, have a nice rest of the weekend.
You too, guys. Take her easy.
All right. Catch you later. Bye.